Under the dazzling light of the brilliant arena where thousands of eyes focused, a level 159 fighter named Walnut knelt down with a defeated look, trembling hands raised high, begging to make peace with his opponent. An overwhelming figure at level 200 named Chu Chin stood proudly with a cool demeanor, his hair flying in the cold wind, coldly asking if anyone else wanted to step up. The crowd below was boiling, some staring in astonishment, others admiring, whispering, "Wow, someone really trained to level 200 inches and look all top-tier equipment stronger than the Elder." Another person sighed, but a question lingered in their mind. Why had they never heard of him before? On the other side of the screen, Chu Chin smiled brightly. His eyes sparkled with triumph. "Haha, the moment to become the server boss. Do you guys know what I had to give up?" He muttered his mind, returning to the days of grinding tirelessly, 25 hours a day without rest. Chu Chin laughed heartily, recalling the 5-year journey of perseverance in the game. All just to shock the crowd today to the point of jaw dislocation. He posed like a faded version of Monkey D. Luffy, shouting loudly, "Remember my name, I am," before he could finish. The computer screen suddenly glitched, the in-game character froze like a statue. No way, fate can't be like this. At this crucial moment, the network lagged. Chu Chin shouted, pounding the table hard. Then suddenly a notification from the game publisher appeared coldly like a knife. After verification, you watch the video without liking it, so your account is locked. Your account has abnormal data and will be locked and titles removed for processing. Please do not use illegal software in the game. Maintaining fairness in the game starts with you and me. Chu Chin, bitterly, blood rushing to his head, punched so hard the screen cracked. Damn, 5 years wasted, chopping blow after blow. I just reached level 200 and you say my account is locked. At that moment, a strong electric shock knocked him down. Exiting the game angrily, as soon as he opened his eyes, Chu Chin was hit by a furious dragon kick and knocked down. Waves of aura surrounded the man, standing arrogantly, eyes full of contempt, looking down at the chairman. "Such trash, and he's the son of the leader," mocked one. "Who said his luck is good? Right place, right time," sneered another. Suddenly, a man stepped forward with a cold voice. "Stand up, don't you hear me?" Chu Chin's mind was still hazy, unable to believe he was dreaming. He shook his head hard, trying to regain his spirit, muttering, "Killing in a dream isn't illegal, right?" "Oh, ho, ho!" With a carefree expression, he looked up at the captain, whose face was like a scowl, frowning in annoyance. "Never thought you could be this manly sometimes." The captain sneered, reaching for the knife at his side to make a move, but suddenly a figure dashed in like lightning to stop him. "Young master, let's go home." This person pulled Chu Chin strongly, overpowering him so he couldn't resist. At that moment, memories of the body's owner flooded back like a torrent. Chu Chin was shocked to realize this was not a dream. "And it's not a mistake of fate either. I really have transmigrated." After receiving the memories, he understood everything clearly. This place was exactly like the world he once lived in, but a cosmic storm over 10 years ago had devastated everything. Many people turned into bloodthirsty, cruel zombies, while that accident also awakened a strange power. Inside the human body is what's called spiritual energy. Those who possess spiritual energy have combat power that can burst out tens or even hundreds of times stronger than ordinary people. Always the center of attention in this world. Fortunately, Chu Chin's father is here. Not only a level 5 spiritual energy master, but also the leader of CAI, managing the surrounding cities where they live. Starting with such a powerful father. Truly not bad at all. But why was he a complete waste, unable to cultivate spiritual energy? Just then, a warm, deep voice sounded, "Little Chin Dad's back." The man entered with a simple appearance, not exuding the aura of a master as in Chu Chin's memories. Is this really the powerful leader father? He thought silently, eyes doubtful. The father approached, patted Chu Chin's head, smiling kindly. "Dad heard everything, don't blame your shortcomings. He just regrets that iron didn't become gold." Chu Chin nodded slightly, thinking to himself, "That's right. If not for him blessing me, I wouldn't have transmigrated here." The father continued encouragingly, "Let's try again. Maybe this time your spiritual energy will awaken." Using the weapon method his father taught, Chu Chin tried to guide the spiritual energy in his body. Although the previous owner couldn't cultivate this, father patiently used this method to help him. It was truly touching. Chu was thinking warmly, but 2 hours later his face turned pale like a dead dog's backside, sweat pouring out completely, unable to feel any vitality. He disappointedly said in a trembling voice, "Sorry, son, I can't feel any vitality at all." The son was truly worthless. The father looked at him with gentle eyes. Xiao Zheng couldn't feel it either, but it was okay. Don't blame yourself, even if you can't cultivate, so what? There is still a day left here. No one will dare to make a fuss with you. Take a little rest. Hearing Chu, touched tears rolled down, soaking his pants. Suddenly, a notification board appeared before his eyes. Emitting a faint light, the system has been activated. Do you want to enter the game again, yes or no? Chu panicked, eyes shining brightly when he saw a level 200 character wearing a full VIPR set plus 12. Isn't this my level 200 thief alias in the game? Without hesitation, he chose yes immediately. Is there anyone who travels through time without a system? He muttered excitedly as the information board appeared. Profession thief, physical strength around 1035, exactly the attributes of the thief alias in the game, but unfortunately only level 1. Checking skills carefully, he realized only a few skills were still usable. Among them was Scan Weakness, allowing checking the target's weaknesses. However, this skill was useless against high-level targets or those over 10 levels higher. It seemed the system brought this. This was only a level 1 thief with just this skill. So isn't this trash? He sighed. This isn't a game, so where to go to level up? While lost in thought, a call interrupted. Young master dinner is ready. Chu shook his head, uninterested in eating, not in the mood. The other immediately objected. That's not okay. Do you know many people outside can't eat rice? Before finishing, Chu looked up, almost spitting out his spirit. In front of him was a bowl of Junwen, a kind person, a level flying warrior with strength, stats not much different from his. Instinctively, Chu raised his hand to try to touch something. I am Junwen, he said, slapping his hand, blushing and embarrassed. Young master, what do you want to do? Chu quickly explained. Me, I just want to verify if that thing is real or not. Junwen snorted lightly. Whatever you want, he muttered, realizing he was misunderstood. What I meant was the attribute board. Later during the meal, Chu secretly checked his father's information. But he couldn't see it because the level difference was too big. Other people's attributes looked like just numbers to him, but at high levels he couldn't distinguish them. He thought silently. Suddenly an idea flashed. If that's the case, could he see monsters outside the city? Chu leisurely strolled around the city, his sharp eyes observing everything. Indeed, his attributes were only slightly better than ordinary people, making him silently vow to level up. He must find something reliable for self-defense. Lam Shi, the person beside him, carefully reminded with a worried voice, the old master has ordered you not to participate in training anymore or to stop wandering around Lam Shi. A level 2 warrior with strength stats twice Chu's made him sigh. Patting Lam Shi's shoulder, Chu smiled and asked, Xiao Shi, do we have guns here? Lam Shi was surprised. Guns, this place is exactly a shooting range. Young master, you are indeed an honored guest. Just then, a blond man approached teasingly. So why is young master Chu free to come to the shooting range today? The blond man was Yan Bai Shun, also a level 2 warrior, but with strength stats around 80, far surpassing Lam Shi. He smirked and continued teasing. Isn't it true you understand the reality? You gave up being a warrior to practice shooting instead. Lam Shi hurriedly stopped him. Young master Chu, don't mind this kid, he's just joking. Chu laughed heartily, responding comfortably. He's right. I came to practice shooting. Then he turned to Yan Bai Shun and asked, Captain Yan, what achievements does this kid have? Yan sneered. If he wants to play, just let him play to his heart's content. In this day and age, no matter how good you are at shooting, it can't compare to leveling up as a warrior. Chu ignored him, holding the gun and laughing. Old Yan, today I'm having fun shooting. I'll take this gun home to play with for a few days, haha. Yan Bai Shun shook his head, muttering, as long as the young master is happy. That kid not only took the gun, but also carried a bunch of bullets. It was insignificant, just a trash kid. Let him run around a few checkpoints. Scene transition. Lam Shi beside him worriedly reminded the young master, keep going forward, you'll get out of the city. Worriedly reminded the young master to keep going forward and he would get out of the city. Chu Chin nodded calmly and replied, I know. Seeing him only holding a Lam Te gun made me even more worried. You holding just one gun to get out of the city is very dangerous. Chu Chin waved his hand, eyes sparkling. Don't be tense, I just want to try shooting a few poisonous beasts, to see if I can level up or not. Lam Te was confused. Level up how? This place is the wall where we defend against the poison beasts, and the fierce beasts outside the main wall are like hell. At that moment, a guy carrying a huge gun jumped down from the wall, making a loud noise with dust everywhere, startling Chu Chin. That guy was Hua Luke, a level 3 martial artist with stats ranging from 100.7 to 135. Lam Te hurriedly said, Uncle Hua, we came to help you kill the poison beasts. Hua Luke knocked on his head and shouted, Your brat killing poison beasts, don't cause me more trouble here, get lost quickly. Just then the captain reported that a poison beast had broken through the guard post. Hua Luke was about to climb up to check but was stopped by Chu Chin. He looked straight into his eyes and said firmly, "Uncle Hua, I know everyone looks down on me, but please give me a chance to show my shooting skills." Hua Luke frowned and reluctantly agreed. Could it be that this kid is sincere? Chu Chin immediately took his position, his eyes focused on observing the poison beast. Indeed, he could see the health bar and level of the beasts. He thought silently, but still wasn't sure if killing them would bring experience points. Aiming carefully, he pulled the trigger. A bullet flew straight and tore through the poison beast's arm. Hua Luke's eyes widened, exclaiming, "Holy crap, I believe you're really talented." But Chu Chin frowned, realizing shooting the arm was ineffective. He activated the skill to scan for weak points and immediately saw red dots appear on the poison beast's body. Aiming straight at the head, he fired a shot that made the monster log out instantly. The system immediately notified him of receiving 100 experience points. Chu Chin was secretly pleased. His guess was right. If he could gain experience points by killing monsters, he didn't hesitate and rushed in to spam the monster area, determined to level up. After clearing all the monsters, the system announced brightly, "Congratulations, you have leveled up." Chu Chin felt a warm energy flow through his body, refreshing as if soaking in a hot spring. "So this is the feeling of leveling up," he muttered, his eyes sparkling. Hua Luke stood beside him, nodding in praise. Although the kid's shooting skills still needed practice, it was clear he had talent. Chu Chin smiled brightly and nodded, replying, "Thank you, Uncle Hua, for the compliment." He noticed a blue light flashing when leveling up, seemingly only visible to him. He checked the attribute panel. The stats after leveling up had increased significantly. "Probably, as I know, I'll add 3 points to agility and 2 points to strength," he calculated silently. Hua Luke pointed to the sparkling crystal dropped from the poison beast's corpse and explained, "Captain, there are crystals on the poison beasts, and you can find these things." "Not all poison beasts have crystals. You're just lucky," he continued. "The crystals are divided into white crystal, blue crystal, green crystal, purple crystal, orange crystal, and pink crystal. Taking white crystal as an example, it is divided into low-level white crystal, mid-level white crystal, and high-level white crystal. This is a type of currency among martial artists. Easier to use than money. Just one low-level white crystal is enough to exchange for a week's worth of food for an ordinary person." Chu Chin nodded and handed the crystal to Hua Luke. "Uncle Hua, take this crystal and exchange it for some cigarette packs for the guys. This delayed everyone's work to help you practice shooting. Should I do this?" Hua Luke laughed loudly. "Captain, I didn't expect that the useless Chu young master in rumors isn't that bad. Don't judge by appearances." And the scene shifted to half a month later. Chu Chin was still diligently farming monsters outside the city, his eyes burning with determination. By now, he had reached level 4 with significantly increased stats and a much more agile body. Hua Luke looked at him, frowning, and asked, "Kid, you've been at my place for over half a month now. Are you really planning to give up training?" Chu Chin sneered, "No matter how high your martial arts are in front of Lin's face, almost everything is equal. It's all nonsense." Hua Luke shook his head. "That's only true for people at low levels like us. Some say that martial artists from level 6 and above aren't even afraid of sniper bullets." Chu Chin smirked. "Then I'll just have to think of a way." Hua Luke nodded. "The kid's vision is sharp, huh?" Suddenly, a vehicle rushed toward the city gate from afar, kicking up a cloud of dust. Chu Chin hurriedly turned to Hua Luke. "Uncle Hua, is that the patrol vehicle you let out early this morning?" Hua Luke nodded tensely. "Captain, that's the patrol vehicle of the leader. There are poison beasts following behind." Chu Chin immediately said, "The poison beast behind, leave it to me." Shortly after, the father's vehicle entered the city safely. The father stepped down and patted Chu Chin's shoulder, his eyes full of satisfaction. "Not bad, your shooting skills have improved very fast." Chu Chin immediately asked the leader, "What happened to you guys?" The father replied lightly, "Just a little trouble. Recently, the poison beasts outside have been growing rapidly. Everyone needs to strengthen defenses." Not only did Chu Jung frown, feeling that something was wrong and not right, he was sure that father was hiding something he thought silently this morning when the patrol team left the vehicle was still intact. Yet now it was full of scratches and damage. Even a level 2 martial artist in the team was injured by the venomous claw. The group of 4 walked on the road, each face gloomy, the atmosphere heavy. Suddenly, father ordered to stop the car in a low voice. "Tran Ki, you know the outcome when injured by the venomous claw, right?" The man named Tran Ki bowed his head and replied softly, "Leader, I haven't." Before Tran Kai could finish, father coldly pressed a gun to his head in a voice as cold as ice. "Sorry." A gunshot rang out. Tran Kai collapsed, blood spreading on the ground. Chu Jung stood still. His heart seemed to stop beating, his mind spinning. At that moment, he truly understood how cheap life was in this world. Like a passing breeze easily extinguished, the scene shifted to mealtime in Chu Jung's house. He sat dazed before the dining table, the bowl of rice untouched. Taquan Van stood beside him worriedly and asked, "Why aren't you eating anymore?" Chu Jung shook his head in a low voice. I'm not hungry." Father looked at him sternly. "It's best you adapt to today's events. Otherwise, you won't be able to inherit my position later." He looked up to retort, but Father continued coldly. "Besides, that person isn't anything to you. For the survival of many, sacrificing one individual is necessary. Also, from tomorrow, no going outside. My steward will follow you closely." The next morning, the steward tried to stop Chu Jung. But how could he hold back such a stubborn guy? He sneaked out with a gun on his shoulder, striding with young Master Lam Tay. Lam Tay sighed. "I agree to take you out. You're already disobeying the leader's orders. Don't go too deep, it's dangerous." Chu Jung smirked. "I'm tired of killing venomous beasts." But the monsters in the forest and venomous beasts are not on the same level. The venomous beast's experience is too little. Lam Tay frowned. "What we need to do now is level up quickly. My mission is to protect you, so I hope you don't make things difficult for me." Chu Jung frowned with dissatisfaction. "So I have to live under your protection forever." Being a second-rate trash, suddenly he pointed the gun behind at Lam Tay with a cold glare. "Fine, I'll protect my own life." A gunshot rang out. The venomous snake behind Lam Tay was immediately shot and fell to the ground. Lam Tay was horrified, sweating profusely. "This thing is deadly venomous. I didn't notice it approaching at all." He turned to Chu Jung with wide eyes. "He's not even a martial artist yet. How could he detect this snake?" Chu Jung checked the snake's body, muttering, "Seems like there's no crystal, not bad." Suddenly, he turned and laughed loudly. "Right here!" Young Master Lam Tay hurriedly said, "Stop joking. This is the hiding place of the venomous snake. Even a level 3 martial artist would find it hard to deal with." Chu Jung smirked, eyes blazing. "To be honest, this place is truly a sanctuary." Shortly after they returned to the city, the steward was surprised. "Young Master, you're back early today." "It's almost dark. What's early about that?" Chu Jung ignored him and turned to Lam Tay. "And you kid, how many times have I told you? You must call me Brother Chu, not Young Master anymore." Lam Tay nodded. Brother Chu, this is what I got today. I can't use it either." "Take it and use it to treat your sister." He handed Lam Tay a crystal, making him tear up with gratitude. "Thank you, Brother Chu." Taquan Van interjected, "Young Master, are you still delivering meat to them today?" For more than half a month, most of the snake meat Chu Jung hunted was given to the children at the orphanage. If sold, it could earn quite a bit of money, Taquan Van added. Approaching the orphanage, the children ran up excitedly as soon as they saw Chu Jung. A small girl hugged his leg tightly, smiling brightly. "Today I'm the first to catch you, Brother Chu." He patted her head and laughed. "You little monkey running so fast, aren't you afraid of falling?" The girl looked up, eyes sparkling. "Brother Chu, did you bring snake meat today, too?" Lam Tay stood beside, pretending to be jealous. "I'm the one carrying the snake meat." Lam Tay stood beside, pretending to be sulky. "The person carrying the snake meat is me. None of you care about me, a bunch of chubby kids and an ant nearby interfering with the young master. I heard that the stinky snake is very difficult to deal with, sir. This is too risky." Chu Chin laughed loudly and waved his hand. "Rest assured, these small snakes are nothing to me." The ant widened her eyes and burst out laughing. "What do you know? The young master is a sharpshooter. One shot and the head is blown off. Even if the Snake King comes, it won't help." The father changed his expression in the cozy dining room of the Chu family. The atmosphere heavy, his eyes, stern voice deep, said no. "Go outside, but in the past half-month you have become even more arrogant." Steward 2 stood by, bowing his head with a guilty tone. "Master, I haven't taken good care of the young master." The father waved his hand, his tone softened. "This is not your fault," then turned to Chu Chung with sharp eyes. "So the rumors about the divine marksman are true?" Chu Chung smirked lightly. "Heh, didn't I say when God closes one door for you, he will open a window for you? In the field of sniping, you also have some talent, right?" "Correct." The father nodded, but with a warning tone. "Correct, but I remind you to try not to get too close to those people in the lowest class." Chu Chung frowned with a displeased expression. "Why?" The father replied coldly, "Because sooner or later they will become your burden." Chu Chung was silent. His face darkened with heavy thoughts as the scene shifted to a bustling street. Nguyen Bak Huan walked forward. Listening to the noisy chatter, a guy spoke up. "Guys, tell me between Captain Ng Him and young Master Chu who is the better shooter?" Another immediately replied, "Young Master Chu is always accurate." "I choose young Master Chu." The person beside nodded. I also choose young Master Chu. He is kinder than some people. Ngiem Bak Hwan felt blood rush to his head, gritting his teeth in anger. A worthless guy dares to be equated with me. I will open your eyes and show you who the real marksman is. Suddenly, a guy next to him exclaimed, Young Master Chu. Ngiem Bak Hwan growled, his eyes red. Mention that name again, and I will make you disappear from this world. At that moment, Chu Cheng appeared, smiling brightly. Captain Ngiem, good morning. What a coincidence, right? Ngiem Bak Hwan smirked. Young Master Chu, I was just looking for you. But Chu Cheng didn't bother to pay attention, his eyes sparkling with excitement. The weather is perfect for hunting. Ngiem Bak Hwan called after Chu Cheng. People are talking, you should listen. Chu Cheng turned back, pretending to be surprised. Oh, are you calling me? Ngiem Bak Hwan sneered. Recently, everyone has been spreading stories about your divine marksman skills. Chu Cheng waved his hand modestly. No, it's all just people exaggerating. Ngiem Bak Hwan smirked with a challenging tone. I wonder if I'm lucky enough to have a shooting match with you one-on-one. He thought to himself, trash, I will open your eyes. What is the pinnacle of shooting skills? Chu Cheng remained calm. I don't have time for that. Ngiem Bak Hwan laughed coldly. What if we bet a 6-star block? You are the son of the leader, aren't you? Not even daring to accept a challenge? Chu Cheng's eyes lit up and he immediately nodded. Just waiting for that, Captain Ngiem. How do you want to compete? All right, Ngiem Bak Hwan replied. Then let's do moving target shooting. Chu Cheng frowned. Don't you think that's boring? He suggested enthusiastically. How about going outside the city to hunt for a day? Whoever hunts the most valuable prey wins. Hearing outside the city, Ngiem Bak Hwan hesitated briefly, but still nodded. All right. 1 week later, the competition began. Young Master Chu, you should prepare well. Later, Lam Te pulled Chu Cheng aside to a corner, speaking in a low voice. That Ngiem Bak Hwan is a two-faced and extremely cunning person. Don't be fooled by his appearance. Chu Cheng smirked. I've met many people who wear masks like that. And his acting skills are terrible, and he doesn't even realize it. Lam Te worriedly asked, Then why did you agree to hunt outside the city with him? It's too risky, that person. Chu Cheng laughed loudly. No matter what, you need to know the gap in the world, especially with someone who always thinks they are right, like Ngiem Bak Hwan. Suddenly he leapt up, activated the skill buttstock strike, knocking down a giant mosquito flying towards him. The system immediately notified, received 150 experience points into the account. In the secret room of the city leader's father, a solemn atmosphere enveloped the father, who looked at Ngiem Bak Hwan with a calm but cold voice. Betting on hunting with the young master, no need to worry. As for Tio Chin, he knows his limits. On the contrary, on this side, it seems we should prepare a bit. Meanwhile, outside the city, a mysterious man sat on a rooftop. On the contrary, here, it seems we should prepare a bit. At the same time, outside the city, a mysterious man sat on the rooftop. He took a long drag of his cigarette, sharp eyes observing the poisonous beasts scurrying below, muttering with interest. Wow. Such a beautiful scene, usually not seen much. The show is about to start. On the way home, Chu Chin walked with bright, confident eyes. Neighbors on both sides of the road called out excitedly, Young Master Chu, good luck in the contest tomorrow. Lam Te, walking beside, couldn't hide his surprise, thinking the young master seems to have become a different person these months, now surprisingly welcomed like this. Chu Chin turned and smiled comfortably. One always has to grow up. But in a dark corner of the street, a figure muttered suspiciously, If you're worried, why not just cancel the competition? Another person replied coldly, He knows what he's doing, let's handle that matter first. Scene shifts to the weapon forging shop filled with the smell of metal and burning coal. Chu Chin stepped in with eyes shining brightly with hope. I hope this place has what I need. The old blacksmith looked up and smiled. Young Master Chu, what do you need? Chu Chin replied immediately. I need a powerful bow. Do you have it here? The old blacksmith nodded but spoke with doubt. A powerful bow, huh? I really do have one, but this bow requires a strength of 150 tons to draw, so very few people use it nowadays. Someone standing nearby interjected, Young master, if it's a string weapon, wouldn't a crossbow be more convenient? Chu Chin smirked, eyes sparkling. Don't you see a bow looks cooler? If you want to train your eyesight, strength, and accuracy, nothing is better than a bow. Lam Te secretly thought with surprise, he's not even a martial artist yet. Suddenly, a nearby kid shouted happily, Grandma, is there something on your head? Chu Chin turned sharply, eyes sharp, laughing loudly. No, it's just the feeling I want. He then turned to Lam Te. Young master, why don't we go outside the city and keep training? The grandma was startled and quickly waved her hand. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. It's okay, it's okay. The kid mischievously held up an arrow as if something was growing on Grandma's head. Grandma lightly scolded, "Don't mess around with dangerous things like that." The old blacksmith gasped in astonishment. "It hit the stone and there's a bug stuck on the arrow now." Scene shifts outside the city. Chu-Chin was testing the new item, the powerful bow shimmering under the sunlight. He drew the bow, aimed precisely, and continuously shot down several giant mosquitoes in an instant. Lam Tay, standing beside him, was amazed. "Young master, you're really that accurate." The system notification sounded in a robotic voice. "Congratulations, you have reached level 15!" Chu-Chin smirked. "Finally level 15, maybe I can unlock 2 new skills." He checked the skill list and saw 2 brand new skills: Precision Preparation, which increases critical hit rate, and Ambush, which attacks the enemy twice, once dealing 100% damage and the second time 60% damage. If attacking from behind, it deals an additional 150% damage, plus 300 fixed damage, but requires a dagger and a rear attack. Chu-Chin muttered, "Skills in this game are really useful. Just don't know how effective they will be in reality." He turned to Lam Tay. "Do you know any place with monsters tougher than flying mosquitoes?" Lam Tay was surprised. "Young master, what do you want to do?" Chu-Chin looked around, his eyes stopping at a lush bamboo forest. "I didn't expect there to be a bamboo forest here. The scenery isn't bad." Lam Tay hurriedly warned, "Young master, the second-tier sword sect here has martial artists of level 4 and 5 who wouldn't dare provoke us. Let's just look and leave." But as they went deeper into the forest, a giant wild boar charged at them. Chu-Chin leapt to dodge quickly, eyes sparkling with determination. Without hesitation, he activated the new skill Ambush. He struck the wild boar twice in succession, then spun to try the backstab skill. The dagger flashed as it pierced the weak spot, causing the beast's health bar to drop rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the wild boar collapsed, dust flying everywhere. Chu-Chin smirked proudly. "Looks like these 2 skills. It can also be effective in the real world." After a while, the boar was butchered and placed on the dining table for the family to enjoy. The father looked at the plate of meat, drooling, shaking his head in admiration. "First it was the ghostly image, now it's the sword sect. Dad doesn't know whether to praise or scold you." Chu-Chin laughed heartily, seizing the opportunity. "So, Dad, can you lend me some spirit stones or gold?" "No, you can decide for yourself about the competition tomorrow." The father just nodded with a complicated look. Meanwhile, at the training area of Ninghiembak-Huan, he was training frantically, sweating profusely and breathing heavily. A subordinate standing nearby curiously asked the captain, "Why have you been training like crazy lately?" Ninghiembak-Huan roared, "Because I'm competing against a loser." "Do you need to be that serious?" He clenched his fist tightly and muttered, "I will win not just this match." Suddenly, a strange sensation arose, as if a strange aura swept over him. He looked up with the cold eyes of a level 3 martial artist clearly visible. This is exactly the gap between a genius and a waste, having talent and training hard. But deep down he couldn't help but think silently, but he's really unlucky. Encountering someone whose side is hiding, then goodbye, sir. On the day of the hunting competition, Chu-Chin and Ninghiembak-Huan were present at the meeting point, surrounded by a lively crowd gathered to witness the contest. Both exuded confidence. Their eyes burned with determination to defeat the opponent. The crowd cheered non-stop, and Ninghiembak-Huan's supporters were all young, beautiful girls dressed in bright, cheering outfits. They shouted in unison, "Captain Ninghiem is so handsome, we all bet on you." Meanwhile, on Chu-Chin's side were the elderly and children, most notably Chu Hong-Tuong, the father standing in the middle of the crowd with a voice like thunder. "Little brother, keep going, you will definitely win." Ninghiembak-Huan glanced over, smirking at Chu Thiujia's fans, who were somewhat special, but Chu-Chin didn't bother and happily accepted the cheers, even bending down to pat a little boy's head. "Little Rockhead, did you place a bet on me yet?" The boy shyly replied, "Not yet." "I have no money, only this belt." Chu-Chin laughed heartily and generously gave the boy a spirit stone. "Take it, place your bet." Ninghiembak-Huan watched helplessly and spoke up. Hey, how can you let a child place a bet?" Chu-Chin turned with a provocative look. "Don't worry, this bet is definitely a sure win." "How can that be considered a bet?" Ninghiembak-Huan gritted his teeth in anger. "You really are confident." Chu-Chin still smiled calmly. "Captain Ningiem, good luck." Ninghiembak-Huan turned angrily and left, muttering, "This blessing is better kept for yourself." Both young masters then climbed into their off-road vehicles, ready to start the hunt. The announcer stepped out, his voice echoing, "This competition is agreed upon by both sides. Regardless of the tactics used, the winner will be decided based on the value of the hunted prey. Unless there are objections, the competition begins now." Both off-road vehicles simultaneously revved and sped off. But in opposite directions, Ninghiembak-Huan smirked, his eyes flashing with pride. "Chu-Chin, you're finished." He was brimming with confidence, especially after just breaking through to level 3 martial artist. The announcer, standing on the stand, observed both and thought to himself that a novice martial artist facing a level 3 martial artist would likely learn a costly lesson. This might be a valuable lesson for Chu Qin if he survives and returns. On the city walls, Chu Hongtuang stood proudly, his eyes following the vehicles disappearing into the dust. An assistant standing nearby spoke worriedly. "Leader, don't you need to send someone to secretly protect the young master?" Chu Hongtuang replied firmly, "No need, I can protect him for a while, but the path to the future he must walk on his own." Scene changes to a dark room. A crackling radio voice announces, "Mission temporarily killed target number 2, a level 1 prisoner, a green spirit stone holder, a man with white hair." His face cold as ice, he flipped through a notebook, his eyes pausing when he saw the target's name, Chu Qin. He smirked lowly. "Out of respect for the green spirit stone, I must relax my muscles a bit first." This guy turned out to be a level 5 martial artist on par with Chu Hongtuang, a potential danger lurking in the shadows. Scene changes to a high-rise building where a figure flashed by like lightning. It was a woman in tight clothing, exuding a cold aura, standing in front of a room. She said, "The owner over there has already accepted." A voice from inside replied coldly and cunningly, "A waste and yet costing a green spirit stone a losing trade. If we can provoke that person after the plan succeeds, we will get double back." Scene changes to a dense forest. Chu Qin stood among the bushes holding a map handed to him by the overseer, unable to help but sigh. "This map is really detailed." The map clearly marked the living area of a pack of shadow wolves with a glaring red warning, "Very dangerous." But Chu Qin, stubborn by nature, ignored the advice. He muttered, eyes sparkling with determination. "Decided." He took the shadow wolves as a warm-up. Nearby, a pack of shadow wolves was gathered, tearing apart a hunted prey. Suddenly, a blue-black shadow wolf raised its head. Detecting an intruder, it howled a warning. In the blink of an eye, blood splattered, dyeing the white rabbit hole red. Chu Qin, sweating profusely and panting, had just defeated 5 shadow wolves. Looks like 5 is the limit," he muttered, but the system immediately announced, "Congratulations, you have reached level 16. Your ability stats are now just slightly below a level 3 martial artist." Suddenly, he froze, his left shoulder aching painfully. Gritting his teeth from the pain, he took out a bottle of medicine from his pocket, muttering whether the medicine Sister Thuong brought would work on him. The bottle was labeled Blood Power Recovery 120 GP per second. He sniffed it. The faint scent was like detoxifying water. He poured the medicine on the wound on his chest, but saw no effect. Maybe he had to drink it. He hesitated, then decisively gulped it down. Miraculously, the terrible wound gradually closed without leaving a trace. Chu Qin stared wide-eyed, amazed, wondering if this was real or fake. "That fast. It seems I brought powerful medicine to this world." Big Brother scene transition. At the outer ring of the forest, a group of martial artists gathered whispering. Duong Vu, a second-level martial artist, spoke excitedly. "Big Brother. Today those two are dueling. I bet on it." Chow Lam Bak, a third-level martial artist, frowned and snapped. "Forget it. We're all risking our lives to make some money. I don't want to waste it there." Suddenly, Kwach Nguye, also a third-level martial artist, lowered his voice to warn quietly, "Someone's coming." A figure silently appeared, none other than Duong Lai, the hired killer sent to kill Chu Qin. He smiled falsely, as if pleased to see a living person. Kwach Nguye shouted sharply, eyes cold, "Stop advancing!" Duong Lai raised his hand, pretending to be harmless. "Don't get agitated, I'm just a lost person." He smiled kindly, took out a photo from his pocket and asked, "Have you guys seen this person today?" Duong Vu looked at the photo and blurted, "Isn't this Chu Trin?" "We met him this morning!" Chow Lam Bak glared and shouted, "Little Vu, shut up!" But it was too late. Duong Lai heard clearly. A gleam of deadly intent flashed in his eyes. "Oh, that's good." Before he finished, his body dashed forward. A sharp blade slashed, splitting Kwach Nguye's body in half in an instant. Chow Lam Bak shouted, "Little Vu, run!" But he himself charged forward to confront the enemy. Unfortunately, he was no match for a level 5 martial artist. Duong Lai sneered coldly, "I might feel guilty." Duong Vu, terrified, legs weak, collapsed to the ground, stammering, "Whoa, why?" Duong Lai glanced coldly, "Because I don't like leaving any evidence." Scene transition in a deep forest corner. Chu Qin stood on a large tree branch, eyes sharp, observing a pack of wolves below. Among them, a white wolf stood out amid the dark green ones. It exuded a majestic aura. Apparently, this was the Wolf King boss. He muttered but sighed, looking at his tattered gear. Based on this, he was sure he couldn't kill the boss. He glanced at his watch, frowning. It's already 1 p.m. Still no valuable hunting beast found, he really felt like a failure. Suddenly, he spotted a bright red blood sword hidden behind the bushes, radiating strong killing intent. No, it's a person, Chu Chin thought silently, heart-pounding. Could it be that he was the target? That person was none other than Duong Lai, a level 5 martial artist, his face dark with a sinister smile as he approached. But in a flash, Chu Chin disappeared behind a tree. Duong Lai frowned, looking up. Where is he? Chu Chin hid silently, heart-pounding, thinking, this guy is too strong. Observing Duong Lai's reaction, he was more certain that the man was targeting him. Are there really people who want to kill me like this? Gritting his teeth, he decided quickly to strike first. Suddenly, a beam of light flashed from above, rushing straight at Duong Lai, who was startled and looked up. But with lightning-fast reflexes, Duong Lai dodged just in time amid the dust. The attacker was none other than Chu Chin, who struck first despite Duong Lai being a level 5 martial artist. Duong Lai was caught off guard. He thought silently, eyes briefly surprised. Too fast. In the blink of an eye, they exchanged over 300 fierce moves, shaking the air. Chu Chin gritted his teeth, sweating profusely, thinking this kind of attack. I can't maintain it long. I have to use my ultimate move. Without hesitation, he immediately activated it and ambushed Duong Lai. Sensing danger, Duong Lai thought anxiously, not good. He leapt back, trying to block the attack, then exclaimed in surprise, No, I clearly blocked that strike. After the strike hit Duong Lai's blood sword, only lost a tiny bit of blood. Chu Chin was slightly disappointed, but his eyes flashed with regret before regaining composure. Duong Lai looked at him, face full of surprise. It's really you. How is that possible? But Chu Chin couldn't see through Duong Lai's attributes. He thought, is this a sword-type martial artist? What a failure. Those intelligence people can all go to hell. This kind of person. You say he's a sword-type martial artist, I almost lost my life. Chu Chin coldly and seriously gave his speculation. Ba Quan sent you here. Duong Lai held the sword, preparing his skill, while landing on the opponent who was much stronger than he had imagined, but a dying man didn't need to know that much. After finishing his words, he swung his sword and struck toward Chu Chin. Chu Chin managed to dodge in time, but the tree behind him was unlucky and was chopped in half with a loud crack. Although he avoided the attack, he was extremely tense, silently telling himself he couldn't just block head-on, then quickly slipped into the shadows to hide while Duong Lai scanned the surroundings, his voice full of provocation. Your hiding skills are quite high, but in the end you still can't escape. While hiding, Chu Chin activated his scanning skill and saw 5 red spots flash. He raised his gun and fired, but the bullet only grazed Duong Lai's head. The man sensed the position. Immediately, he slashed toward that tree, but fortunately, Chu Chin had already run away. Duong Lai saw him dodge. Then he threatened, You basically don't understand the physique of a standard 6th-stage martial artist. I can dodge this bullet even with my eyes closed. But he still did not give up and continued to hide. After considering his own strength, he thought it seemed he could only invite backup. He raised his gun and fired several shots to attract Duong Lai's attention. Duong Lai still provoked him, and no bullet hit the target. Then he turned and ran away swiftly. Duong Lai chased after him, shouting loudly, You can't run. He ran to a deep ravine and without hesitation jumped down. Duong Lai saw his recklessness and said farewell. Then he jumped down after him, ready to strike Chu Chin down, but suddenly saw a pack of shadow wolves below and was extremely surprised. When jumping down, Chu Chin was not only unharmed, but also conveniently killed one shadow wolf. He used a skill, then ambushed to kill another, then used a skill to stab Duong Lai in the back. Seeing that he was leading him into the shadow wolf's lair, he shouted, You madman, do you want to die together? Surrounded by shadow wolves, one bit his ankle. He resolutely said, If you cut the shadow wolf, let's see who dies first. The White Wolf King sensed his comrades had been killed. It howled angrily, and all nearby were affected. This was exactly the main purpose Chu Chin had in luring him here. The other shadow wolves stopped attacking and let the Wolf King advance. Chu Chin observed around to find a place to break through the siege. Duong Lai growled angrily. Are you confident? For me, escaping from here is not difficult. Seeing him threaten Chu Chin, he calmly pulled out 2 grenades from his pocket and smirked. Is that so? Then how about increasing the difficulty a bit? He threw the 2 grenades hard onto the ground. Thick smoke rose, enveloping everything. Duong Lai was locked in place for 3 seconds, unable to move, angrily shouting. Chu Chin, as the smoke cleared, saw the Wolf King's snow-white claws suddenly lunging. Although Duong Lai quickly dodged, he was still injured and continuously retreated to escape the beast's relentless attacks. Meanwhile, Chu Chin leisurely sat on a high tree branch drinking a recovery potion and sneering, "This place is yours now. Have fun." Duong Lai struggled fighting the pack of shadow wolves, sweat pouring like a shower. After a long while, Chu Chin sat on the tree listening as the sounds gradually ceased. It seemed to be over. He muttered, looking down at the scene below. Shadow wolf corpses piled like mountains, blood splattered everywhere. Only Duong Lai and the Wolf King stood facing each other, maintaining their combat stance. Both had blood streaming from their eyes, mutually damaging each other to the death. Chu Chin observed his work and calmly evaluated so he can actually kill the whole pack alone. Is this the fighting power of a fifth-stage martial artist? Unfortunately, the person you met is me. He stepped forward, took the bag from Duong Lai's side, opened it, eyes shining brightly. This guy's really rich. Inside were several blue crystals and sparkling green crystals. He also took out a roll of paper, muttering, "What is this?" But at that moment, the Wolf King, dying, slightly moved. Not dead yet. Chu Chin smirked coldly. "Let me end your suffering." Time passed since the two had set out. The crowd outside the city began to stir. Why haven't they returned yet? Someone else asked who was assigned this time. The reply was immediate. No need to say. Definitely Captain Nunghiem. The winning rate is a bit low, but checking young Master Nunghiem will surely win, right? The man called General Manager Nunghiem, bald, with a big belly and official demeanor, rubbed his hands and laughed too much praise. The result isn't out yet. No rush, no rush. On Chu Chin's side, people whispered worriedly, "Will the young master be okay?" A man said, "Don't worry, I trust young Master Chu Hong Kwang's ability." Chu Chin's father stood silently on the city wall, his gaze heavy with worry, waiting. Suddenly, the first to return was Nunghiem Bahuan. The crowd cheered him on excitedly, Captain Nunghiem victorious. They marveled when they saw the giant prey on Nunghiem Bahuan's vehicle, quickly looking at the large catch. Manager Nunghiem stepped forward and asked him intimately if he was injured. Nunghiem Bahuan sneered at that useless thing. "It's not that bad." Manager Nunghiem nodded and turned to a girl, telling her to take Bahuan to rest first. Then he looked at Chu Hong Tuong with a proud tone, waiting for Chu Chin to return and announce the results. Before he finished speaking, the crowd suddenly shouted loudly that young Master Chu had returned. Chu Chin drove the off-road vehicle back through a cloud of dust, muttering about which Wang Bat Dan had chosen this car for him. He stopped the vehicle parallel to Nunghiem Bahuan. The man looked at him, sneered, and quickly turned away. "I thought I could rest for a while," Chu Chin replied provocatively. "If you want to rest, you have the rest of your life." Nunghiem Bahuan narrowed his eyes, coming up with a new plan. He spoke loudly and clearly. "Everyone, I have a proposal. Let's settle the hunting trophies simultaneously and then face each other one by one." Chu Hong Tuong, Chu Chin's father, with cold, sharp eyes, immediately recognized the young man's intention to insult Chu Chin. He thought to himself, but Chu Chin just laughed heartily. "I'm fine. Whatever you like." Nunghiem Bahuan sneered with a sinister smile. "Aha, then mine goes first. Let's bet the play on young Master Chu." In his heart, he thought silently, "Useless, let's see how long you can keep pretending." The inspector pulled back the cover to reveal Nunghiem Bahuan's prey. The crowd gasped in amazement, eyes full of admiration. Nunghiem Bahuan proudly turned to Chu Chin. "Young Master Chu, who do you think will win this match?" The people around buzzed. "I must be seeing things, Captain Nunghiem. He actually hunted so much by himself. Second-grade sword spirit has great value." Nunghiem Bahuan suddenly spoke up. "Wait a moment, I think we should check the core inside the prey and then calculate its value. After all, this is a standard third-grade prey, not something else to compare with." The inspector hesitated, but Chu Chin just shrugged with a bored tone. "It's okay. Anyway, summarize quickly, we still have to go back and wash up." The inspector checked the prey and indeed found a sparkling white crystal inside. The crowd of Vu Hep cheered. "Captain Nunghiem is mighty." Plus the sword spirit crystal, a high-grade white crystal. Chu Chin heard the result and deliberately praised, "It's okay, the luck is really not ordinary." Nunghiem Bahuan laughed arrogantly. "That luck is only for the weak. I don't need luck to win." He snapped his fingers. "Otherwise, I'll add 2 more crystals for you." Chu Chin smiled happily and nodded. "All right then, thank you, Captain Nunghiem." Seeing Chu Chin shamelessly agree, Nunghiem Bahuan was furious and thought silently, "On my side, I have the shame to give you a tree and you still climb it." He clapped his hands to attract everyone's attention. "Please don't get excited. The sword spirit is just an appetizer. The main course is below." The inspector pulled another bamboo cover to reveal another prey. The crowd was stunned and exclaimed, "This is the Pine Forest Hand 3rd grade." Everyone was amazed. "Wait, this is really chaotic." Many third-grade martial artists didn't dare to provoke manager Nguyen, the bald and pot-bellied man who laughed proudly. That's why Captain Nguyen has my style. A blonde girl next to him echoed, Pine Forest hand third grade worth 3 high-grade white crystals. Suddenly, the host shouted loudly, quiet! But the crowd cheering for Nguyen Bak Hwan was still excited, shouting, Captain Nguyen, I want to have your kids. Captain Nguyen will definitely win. Nguyen Bak Hwan laughed proudly. This is the gap between me and you, between an object and a genius. But Chu Chin just yawned. With a bored tone, it seems you quite understand what a useless thing you are. Hearing that Nguyen Bak Hwan was so angry, he gritted his teeth and growled, You only know how to talk. Chu Chin stood up with cold eyes. All right, then. And let me show you who the useless one is between us. He opened the cover of his prey calmly. The time was too tight, so I couldn't hunt anything valuable. When the cover was pulled back, the crowd was stunned. Someone exclaimed, Only a shadow wolf, that's the shadow wolf king. Others were surprised. Unexpectedly, our young Master Chu can hunt 4th grade wild beasts. Young Master Chu can already hunt 4th grade wild beasts. The host was still shocked, stammering, Shadow Wolf King, 4th grade worth a low-level blue crystal. The crowd cheering for Nguyen Bak Hwan whispered in panic. How many high-grade white crystals can one low-level blue crystal be exchanged for? Someone else shouted, Fool, 1 low-level blue crystal equals 100 high-grade white crystals. Oh my, what is there to compare on Chu Chin's side? Cheers echoed loudly. Brother Chu Chin won. Nguyen Bak Hwan turned pale, unable to believe his eyes, shouting, Impossible. He absolutely cheated. Even a 5th-level martial artist wouldn't dare provoke the Shadow Wolf King. How could he have killed it? Chu Chin sneered, his tone full of provocation. I should be the one thanking you. Nguyen Bak Hwan stared in astonishment. What did you say? Chu Chin continued, eyes sparkling with amusement, mocking the loser. Next I invite a 5th-level martial artist. Captain Nguyen acted generously. Nguyen Bak Hwan was stunned, unable to believe it. What did you say? You clearly cheated and now want to frame me. But at that moment, bald, pot-bellied Chief Nguyen shouted loudly, Brat, be quiet and leave. Young Master Chu truly has the dragon and phoenix mark. When I return, I will teach that brat who couldn't win a fight. Chu Chin glanced at Chief Nguyen, thinking that this fat, squinty-eyed man didn't look like a good person, but he still smiled gently. Chief Nguyen, you're being harsh. Chu Hongkwang, Chu Chin's father, also spoke up to soothe the two juniors. It's just a match, no need to take it seriously. No need to make it serious, Chu Chin was just lucky. He can't compare to Bak Hwan's skills. Chief Nguyen laughed sarcastically. Ha ha, still it's part of his strength. Scene change. In a secret room, a girl wearing a tight outfit was pushed hard against the wall and collapsed. A figure appeared. It was Chief Nguyen, roaring angrily. Chu Chin, that useless brat, why is he still alive? Running wild and even hunting the Shadow Wolf King. What's going on? He gritted his teeth, thinking the assassin organization was just a bunch of useless people. I don't want to wait anymore. Prepare to execute Plan 2. Scene change. At Chu Chin's home, the atmosphere was lively with the clinking of glasses as 4 people happily celebrated the victory. Chu Chin wasn't used to drinking beer and coughed violently. Chu Hong Tuong laughed heartily, patting his son on the shoulder. Good kid, your first time drinking and you're already so strong. Chu Chin grimaced and replied, I'm still a meat eater. Han thought, eyes sparkling. It seems no matter what world it is. Drinking isn't my strength either. Amid the lively atmosphere, Chu Hong Tuong suddenly raised his glass warmly. Congratulations on your victory in the duel, son. You've grown up. He downed his glass, eyes full of pride. Chu Chin was moved and replied, Dad. But immediately he hesitated, his eyes briefly thoughtful. Meanwhile, Nguyen Bak Hwan and Nguyen Suyen, he thought silently, Wait, the assassin behind this isn't confirmed yet. If I say it, it might cause big trouble. Chu Hong Tuong noticed his son's pensive look. He comforted him, Don't keep it to yourself about Nguyen Bak Hwan's son. That brat is just arrogant. Chief Nguyen Suyen will teach him. Chu Chin nodded slightly. But in his heart, he decided to leave. I'll investigate this myself first. Scene change. In a private room, Chu Chin held a cylindrical object, flipping it over and mumbling, This won't explode right. As he thought, he immediately threw it to the ground and hurriedly hid behind the bed. Fortunately, it didn't explode, just rolled on the floor. He breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, Looks like I overthought it. Could this be a transmitter? Just then, Taquan Van pushed the door open and called out, Young master, the refined stones from the duel have arrived. She dragged a heavy cloth bag across the floor, buttons undone, to reveal a pair of white rabbits, startling Chu Chin. She continued, "Where would you like me to put them?" He quickly waved his hand, stammering, No, just put them down." He quickly snatched the cloth bag from her hand, speaking boldly, "Leave the heavy work to me." Tuquan Van was about to say something like, "I am the housekeeper, so I should—" But before finishing, Chu Chin interrupted, "In my sincere eyes, you're just an ordinary girl. No need to act as a housekeeper every day." Before he could enjoy his 5 seconds of handsome moment, Chu Hong Kwang suddenly appeared, voice serious. "Chu Chin, are you busy?" Chu Chin was embarrassed, not busy. Tuquan Van blushed quickly, buttoned her shirt, and quietly left. Chu Hong Twong ignored the serious situation and asked, "You won the duel today and dispelled many doubts, so you should learn about managing the city." Chu Chin frowned and replied, "I don't want to be a manager or anything. It's just that I really have something to ask Dad." Surprised, he asked, "What is it?" Chu Chin smiled brightly, eyes sparkling. "Can you help me use these refined stones to make some better equipment? Make some better gear." Scene change. At Nungyem Ba Huan's place, the furious man said, "You said Chu Chin's hunt was cheating." The person beside him looked at the wound on the Shadow Wolf King's body. "It shows that the one who killed it must be someone else." Nunghiem Ba Huan shouted, Dad, did you hear that?" Before he finished, Nunghiem Shuyen slammed his hand on the table coldly. "I know already. Leave this matter for now. I see Father is not dealing with it immediately." Nunghiem Ba Huan is anxious because this matter concerns the reputation of that useless son of yours, but Nunghiem is losing patience. "Shout, I said I know already." Going outside, Nunghiem Ba Huan was so furious he was steaming, stepping out while cursing Chu Chin. "Don't think. Your father is the leader, so he can do whatever he wants. This matter is not over yet." Scene changes to the city wall where Chu Chin is focusing on sniper shooting with cold eyes. A gunshot rang out, a level 20 beast fell. The system announced, "Congratulations, you have reached level 20. He smiled, looking at the equipment on him with good gear. Leveling up speed was indeed unusual. Suddenly, a new skill appeared, Jump Strike, allowing jumping onto the target's head and launching 3 attacks each, causing 200 damage points. Chu Chin smirked and muttered, "This skill looks like it's going to be fun to play with." Suddenly, a roar shook the sky, startling Chu Chin. His eyes immediately turned toward the sound. A giant beast with a disgusting appearance appeared in front of him. Exuding a terrifying aura, he calmly raised binoculars to observe and muttered, "This fire is enough to provoke a challenge." On a nearby tower, a device emitting strange sound waves, exactly like the cylindrical object Chu Chin found last night. Under the influence of the waves, the beast's 2 eyes glowed red as if activated. A man in padded armor spoke coldly into the walkie-talkie. "The final stage of the mission has started." The beast seemed empowered, roaring and charging toward the city wall. Chu Chin was not panicked at all. He drew his bow, activated the weakness sweep skill, and shot a precise arrow into the beast's head. But the beast didn't die. It even pulled the arrow out and roared angrily. Chu Chin was stunned. No blood spilled anywhere. The beast noticed him. Its red eyes full of killing intent charged to attack. "This guy is hot-tempered," he muttered, dodging a strong strike from the beast. Causing rocks and dirt to scatter, reacting quickly like lightning, he used Jump Strike, leaping high and stabbing the beast's neck, then continuously stabbing its back, causing its health bar to drop to just a little. Not willing to surrender, the beast swung its giant club backward, raising a cloud of dust that obscured vision. The man in padded armor stood far away, wiping his sword while observing and muttering, "With this intensity, how can such a big commotion happen?" He smirked. "They're just making a lot of noise. That makes it more interesting." Finally, the battle ended. A beast collapsed onto the ground, dust slowly settling. Chu Chin jumped up, took out a blue crystal from the beast's head eyes, shining brightly. Then he climbed onto his motorcycle and sped toward the city gate. The guard didn't recognize him and shouted, "Who is that? Stop the vehicle!" But when he got closer, he recognized Chu Chin and awkwardly asked, "What happened early this morning when I went out? The defenses weren't set up yet." The guard replied in a flustered tone, "Actually, we're not very sure. Heard from above that there might be some movement of beasts in the town." Chu Chin heard that and pondered. Beasts, no wonder the density seems higher than before. Scene changes to Chu Chin's house. He entered and called loudly, "Father." Inside the room, 3 people were sitting on the sofa. Chu Hong Kwang stood behind a man wearing glasses, stood opposite. Seeing Chu Chin, he smiled. "Little Chin, just in time. Hello, everyone." Chu Chin nodded and greeted everyone. Chu Hong Twong signaled the man with glasses Lao Ha to continue. The man called Lao Ha spoke seriously. Our leader has confirmed that to the west of the city wall, a large number of beasts are moving here. It is expected that by tomorrow morning they will appear within the city's safe zone. Moreover, there are also giant beasts mixed in. He pointed to the giant beast's corpse that Chu Chin had just defeated. Another person, gaunt-faced but muscular-smoking, said, "There are beasts like this. Our defensive strategy is too passive." Before he finished, Nhiem, Shuyen interrupted in a stern voice, "We should take the initiative to attack. I agree with Lao Tu's opinion. After all, we have to harvest food in half a month. As the logistics manager, I don't want to see a famine break out in the city in half a year." Chu Chin looked at Nhiem Shuyen and thought to himself, so that old man is in charge of logistics. "No wonder he looks chubby, boy," Chu Hongquang asked in a deep voice, eyes sharp. "Lao Hua, have the city defense and deployment information been leaked today?" Lao Hua replied immediately with certainty, "Don't worry. Even if someone guesses, they won't dare to speak recklessly." Chu Hongtuang sighed, but suddenly got angry and shouted loudly, "Turn around quickly like lightning. Lao Tu Lao Hua, gather the cavalry early tomorrow morning and head to the outskirts. The rear guard is entrusted to Lao Nyem and Lao Hua." He turned and patted Chu Chin's shoulder with a stern voice. "When I'm not here, Chu Chin will have full authority to replace me. Understand this decision." The remaining four each had a different expression. Chu Chin was shocked, sweat pouring down. "Is that my son?" Father changed scenes after the meeting in the private room. Chu Hongtuang looked at his son with a gentle voice. "Chu Chin, while I'm out, you have to learn to manage well." Chu Chin frowned worriedly. "Father, this afternoon's exam doesn't seem simple. I think you should reconsider." He smiled, rubbing his son's head. "You silly child, your father is a 5th-level martial artist. Besides, this time I'm only going to lure the exam. There won't be any danger." Chu Chin stepped outside with a determined voice. "No matter what, you have to agree with me. You must return safely." Chu Hongquang nodded, his eyes softened. He looked at the family photo, emotions surging, mumbling. Our Chu Chin has grown up." In the photo, he and his beautiful wife in their youth stood beside the boy Chu Chin, who was only 6 years old. He continued with a choked voice, "You must bless him to successfully transition scenes." A few days later, at the city wall, a person ran over hurriedly, shouting loudly, "Captain Hua, the patrol team is back!" But the patrol team returned in a miserable state, covered in injuries. Someone shouted with a trembling voice, "Young Master Chow, leader, something happened." Chu Chin was stunned, unable to believe his ears, but quickly calmed down. He jumped into the car, preparing to find his father, asking the person beside him, "Supervisor, do you really think my father is in trouble?" The supervisor hesitated. "I don't know, but I recognize that person. He is indeed a member of the patrol team." Chu Chin looked at the devastated scene on the road, mumbling, "Why is there no sign of a fight with the poison beast after traveling for a while?" He asked the driver, "Brother, where are you heading?" The man replied calmly, "Young Master Chu, don't worry, we're almost there." Chu Chin glanced at the man's blood-stained hand, thinking silently, "This is a trap." But it was too late. The car entered the ambush area where 7 men were waiting. One man saw the car coming and smiled wickedly. "Finally, you've arrived. You kept us waiting too long." Another yawned, eyes still watery. "Let's get to work." The driver turned to look at Chu Chin. "Young Master Chu, you can get out now." The supervisor's face darkened as he stood up and shouted, "What do you mean?" Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind. It was Nhiem Bak Huan, who spoke while making a throat-slitting gesture. "Of course, just as you thought." The 3 supervisors angrily confronted Nhiem Bak Huan. "How dare you betray the leader?" Before they finished, he rushed forward and kicked hard, causing the supervisor to spit blood. Chu Chin caught him in time, his cold gaze fixed on the traitors. "So the exam this afternoon was your trick?" Nhiem Bak Huan lit a cigarette smugly. "You should know it doesn't matter. Either way, you 2 will die here today. Your father is a very wise man. To lure him out of the city, we put in a lot of effort." Chu Chin frowned, his eyes cold, luring him out of the city. "What exactly did you do?" Nhiem Bak Huan stepped closer, blowing a puff of smoke in his face provocatively. "You said he's been sitting there too long, so it's time to replace him. Isn't that right?" The supervisor, sitting and resting worriedly, interjected, "These people are at least 2nd-level martial artists. Young master, I'll hold them off. You run ahead." One man on Bak Huan's side sneered, "What do you think, we're deaf? Neither of you is allowed to leave." Unexpectedly, Chu Chin's eyes flashed dangerously when he heard this. He was right. In an instant, he lunged at the man who had just spoken. The man's sudden move was easily caught by Chu Chin, who coldly continued, "Anyone present here today won't leave. Within seconds, 2 more men fell under his blade. The rest were stunned, then shouted, "Chu-Chin, you dare to ambush and kill!" But none of them were a match for him. With just a few strikes, the whole group collapsed, blood spreading across the ground. Huan witnessed the scene, trembling in fear, tears streaming down. The last man's face was pale without a drop of blood. Stammering when seeing Chu-Chin approach, "Aren't you a martial arts trainee?" Chu-Chin coldly replied, "Who said trainees can't kill?" As soon as he finished, he defeated this man. Suddenly, a bullet whizzed past his head, nearly hitting the survivors. They pulled out guns and fired rapidly at him. Huan, holding 2 guns, shouted, "He must be on drugs. He's definitely taken something. Hold on until the drug wears off. He's just trash." Countless bullets flew, but Chu-Chin was as fast as lightning. Not a single bullet touched him. He suddenly jumped up and kicked Huan straight in the face. The man couldn't believe it, mumbling, "Impossible." "I am clearly a level 3 martial artist," the deputy chief sneered cruelly, only knowing how to use levels to distinguish people. "The standards are a bit low." Captain Huan trembled, his voice faltering. "You cannot kill me. The city is now completely under my father's control." "If you kill me, your father will surely die," Chu-Chin roared angrily. "Killing you now would be too easy. Tell me, where have you taken my father?" Seeing Chu-Chin getting agitated, Huan smiled sinisterly. He was to the east. As Chu-Chin turned his face, he immediately drew his water spear and activated the taunt skill. He stabbed towards him, but he overestimated himself. The attack not only failed to injure Chu-Chin, but was countered by him striking back before dying. Huan, on the verge of death, whispered, "I will be waiting down there for you." The supervisor panicked, looking at young Master Chu-Chin, asking what we should do. He calmly replied, "Of course, kill the traitors and rescue my father." The scene shifted to a desolate area where hordes of venomous beasts growled and advanced in one direction. That was Chu Hong Tuong's team. He observed with a low voice, "Lao Tu, the actions of these venomous beasts seem not over." Suddenly, a slash came from behind. The attacker was Lao Tu, the person he trusted. Despite being injured, Chu Hong Tuong stood firm, disbelief in his eyes. "You betrayed me." Lao Tu smiled wickedly, "Still stronger than I thought. Even a sneak attack like that couldn't kill you." Chu Hong Tuong gritted his teeth. "You betrayed me." Lao Tu smirked. "Old Chu, that sounds a bit unpleasant. You're not the only one who betrayed me." Lao Hua led a group forward. With cold eyes, Chu Hong Tuong glanced at the situation, sneering. "You all rely only on 2 small fry like these." At that moment, Ngiem Shuyen stepped out, voice proud. "What if I join in?" He activated his skill, shouting loudly. Farewell, old Chu Hong Tuong jumped to dodge the attack by inches, but as he landed, a barrage of bullets shot up from the ground. He quickly used a shield skill, but Ngiem Shuyen slid behind him, roaring, "You can't escape." A loud boom echoed as a sharp blade pierced his back. Pushed against a tree, Chu Hong Tuong panted heavily. Ngiem Shuyen smiled wickedly. How much is this kind of trust worth in the world? A person without power is just a defeated dog for life. Cornered Chu Hong Tuong laughed loudly. "Haha, do you all want me dead?" Ngiem Shuyen felt uneasy, a bad premonition. Chu Hong Tuong activated the Shadow Sound skill voice cold. "Then come and try." He launched a powerful attack with storm-like momentum. Ngiem Shuyen struggled to defend, shouting, "Lao Tu Lao Hua still has 0 attack power." Hearing this, Chu Hong Tuong pressed harder, his moves sharper than ever. Scene shifted. Chu-Chin and the supervisor were speeding down the road in a car. He thought silently, eyes deep in thought, although he was just a convenient father. But don't die carelessly. At a certain point, they encountered an obstacle blocking the road. The supervisor worriedly said, "Young master, this must be where the leader's soldiers are stationed." Chu-Chin looked around and saw only empty blood pillars, muttering, "Have all the guards here been killed?" A guard saw the car approaching and smiled, pretending to be friendly. "Oh, young Master Chu, the leader is chasing venomous beasts. Do you need me to lead people to search?" Chu-Chin glanced at the blood pillar, his eyes turning cold. He replied coldly, "No need. Or should I escort you somewhere else?" Before the guard could react, Chu-Chin acted. His dagger flashed. He said coldly, "Traitors, the only place for you is hell." The guard fell immediately. Back at Chu Hong Tuong's location, the council roared with fiery eyes. "Even if I die, I will drag you down with me." Lao Hua sneered, almost dying, but still stubborn. Ngiem Shuyen lost patience. It was a waste of words. Quickly finishing him off, he used a skill against Chu Hong Tuong. He couldn't block all attacks. Injured at the wrist, his weapon dropped to the ground. Seeing the opportunity, the traitor's eyes gleamed as they attacked relentlessly. Nghiem Suyen shouted proudly, "Why don't you just die for me?" But Chu Hongquang was no longer afraid. He drew the hidden sword from his sleeve. He stabbed straight into Nghiem Suyen's belly. The man screamed in pain, blood flowing out, but with his big fat belly full of fat, the wound was insignificant. Nghiem Suyen yelled with the Tu Kien Trung. "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. If I die, the entire food supply of the city will be destroyed. You will get nothing." Tu Kien Trung was not someone to bully. He replied to old Nghiem, "You better hold on and don't die first." He charged forward. Chu Hongquang's blade flashed. "It's time to leave, old Chu." When the blade was only 5 centimeters from Chu Hongquang, an arrow suddenly flew in, deflecting the blade. Dust clouded the air and everyone was stunned. All eyes turned eastward as Chu Chin stepped forward, his voice cold. "Who said anyone needs to set out already?" Kien Trung, despite his great strength, still failed. Running away, sweating coldly, muttering, "The shot just now, how could a useless guy shoot my sword away?" Chu Hongtuang saw his son act excellently and laughed loudly. "My son is the useless one, you all are the real useless ones." He turned to Chu Chin with a decisive tone. "Chu Chin, hold Nghiem Suyen for me. I will deal with those 2 useless guys first, then come to help you." Chu Chin smiled confidently. "Dad, rest assured." But he immediately threw a bottle of medicine toward him and said, "Drink this all first." Then rushed at Nghiem Suyen with sharp eyes. "Just now I welcomed your son. Now it's your turn." Chu Chin growled angrily. "What did you do to Bak Huan?" Chu Chin sneered. "You think I did anything to him? You two, father and son, did despicable things, yet still shamelessly questioned others." Nghiem Suyen flew into a rage, unleashing skills toward Chu Chin, "Go die." But Chu Chin's strength was enough to confront. No sword touched him. He smirked. "You attack from afar, but are not qualified yet." He swung his sword in a continuous strike. He caused Nghiem Suyen's blood to drop miserably. The heavily injured man panicked and called Hang An Tan, "Come here quickly. Help me." Hang An Tan immediately rushed over, swinging his sword at Chu Chin. He dodged neatly and countered with a fatal strike. Hang An Tan retaliated with a big slash. But when he turned around, Chu Chin was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, Chu Chin leapt down from above. The blade flashed coldly as he said, "Farewell, traitor. Scene transition at Vitan." The group hurriedly moved into the city gate. An old man anxiously asked the guard, "Little brother outside the city, what exactly happened? Why are we being brought into the city?" The guard replied, "They say there was a wave of exams passing through. So rest assured inside the city for 2 days. Nothing will happen." The captain of the guard comforted them. "Focus your spirit. The leader was fighting outside. We must protect the city well." But the old man worried silently, hoping Lao Chu was okay. Taquan Van stood nearby, eyes looking out anxiously. She tightly held the key, recalling what Chu Hong Tuang once said. "Quan Van, all these years you have cared for Chu Chin like your own brother. I have long considered you like a daughter. If this time Vitan cannot be passed, Chu Chin entrusts you." He handed her the key and laughed loudly. "Don't worry too much. I'm not giving a last will." That image suddenly mixed with the scene of Chu Hong Kwang being attacked. The old man roared, "I Lao too am not ready to die early." Slowly, Kien Trung saw he was still strong, stammering. He heard a shout behind him. He turned around and shouted, "Hang An Tan!" Just then, Chu Hong Kwang rushed forward and stabbed a knife into Kien Trung's heart. The man weakly reached out, calling Chu, then collapsed. At the same time, Hang An Tan also fell to the ground. Already defeated by Chu Chin, he sighed in relief. The appetizer is done, now for the main course. He turned to Nghiem Suyen, who had lost an arm, yelling, "You can't kill me if I die. Everyone in Vitan will die with me." Chu Hongquang shouted loudly with fury. "Nghiem Suyen, your rebellion, we truly heard about the siege, but we didn't expect you to be so reckless. Not hesitating to sacrifice the lives of Vitan's people." Despite being questioned, Nghiem Suyen remained stubborn. "What use is your many words this city, whether I have merits or hardships? Based on what does your stupid son sit above me, I just need to press this button. All the food supplies of Vitan have been destroyed." Nghiem Suyen raised a device threateningly at Chu Chin. "Tell me where Nghiem Ba Quan is." Chu Chin was unshaken, smirking coldly. "I already told you he is very safe now." But immediately his face darkened. "But if you press that, I will make you and your father live worse than death." Suddenly another voice sounded low and dangerous. Nghiem Tong Quan hesitated, indecisive, unlike him at all. Nghiem Suyen opened his eyes wide, recognizing the man in dandy clothes who had appeared before. The man continued sarcastically, "Consider it a free gift for the employer. Let me tell you news. I take the honor of the shadow to guarantee your son Nghiem Ba Quan has been dead for a long time." Hearing this, Nghiem Shuyen screamed, hands trembling about to press the button on the device. Chu Chin immediately rushed to stop him, coldly saying, "Now I will take you to meet Nghiem Bak Huan." But as he was about to act, the man in dandy clothes blocked the way, forcing Chu Chin to step back to avoid the blow. The man sneered, "Killing the employer in front of me is not very proper." He introduced himself with a sharp voice. "I am Lu Dong-sun, a level 6 martial artist." He lifted Nghiem Shuyen like a chicken. "Continuing my hunting today, I'm afraid I have to trouble you all to stay here." Nghiem Shuyen relied on his backers to order the killing of them for money. "Can I triple or even quadruple it?" Lu Dong-sun smirked. "Boss, you still don't understand the situation, do you? Your son is dead. Everything of yours has been destroyed now. Only I can save you by taking all your assets. It's not unreasonable, right?" But Nghiem Shuyen was stunned, unable to believe his ears. At that moment, the remote supervisor rushed over, shouting loudly, "Young master, the gang leaders here have been dealt with." Chu Chin heard and immediately shouted, "Don't come here. There is a level 6 martial artist here, but it's too late." The supervisor climbed over the rocks, eyes wide upon hearing this. "What level 6 inches?" Chu Chin confirmed with a stern look, and Chu Hong Kwang spoke up. With a weak but firm voice, "Chu Chin, I will try to stop him. You all run." Chu Chin looked at his father with a deep voice. "Don't be sad anymore, old man. In the current state, how long can you hold off a level 6 martial artist?" The supervisor immediately turned and fled, but Lu Dong-sun chased after him, roaring, "Did I allow you to run?" His strike was blocked by Chu Chin. With incredible speed, he brazenly confronted the level 6 martial artist, sneering, "Level 6 martial artist, is it necessary to treat them like green onions?" He launched a strong attack, pushing Lu Dong-sun back. Lu Dong-sun was briefly surprised and said, "You useless Duong Lai, if I can't kill you, do you really think you're good?" But just as he bragged, he was hit by a blow to the shoulder. Ignoring the wound, he coldly laughed. "I never noticed when you struck." He bent down to dodge Chu Hong Kwang's attack fighting while saying, "This troublesome prey is more than a nuisance. This time it's really a loss." Suddenly, the supervisor drove back, shouting loudly, "Young master leader, get in the car quickly!" Chu Chin immediately carried his father onto the car and shouted, "Go!" He threw 2 grenades toward Lu Dong-sun. Lu Dong-sun reacted quickly, cutting the grenades in half, but they still exploded, creating thick smoke. When the smoke cleared, their car had sped far away. Nghiem Shuyen's mad laughter echoed, He, what assassin obsession. After all, they're just useless trash. If I don't have you, you won't have a chance either." Unbeknownst to them, he had already grabbed the device, intending to press the button. Seeing this, Lu Dong-sun rushed forward, stabbing him into a tree, coldly saying, "You won't have the chance to destroy the warehouse." At this moment, Lu Dong-sun coldly looked at Nghiem Shuyen, voice full of threat. "Don't be unreasonable. I don't mind taking you to meet your son." Nghiem Shuyen laughed despairingly, but before collapsing, he managed to press the button on the device. At the same time, a thunderous explosion shook the city. The crowd panicked. Many sat down in despair. Without the warehouse of supplies, the hope of the entire city was completely shattered. Flames blazed fiercely, engulfing everything. All the gate guards hurriedly ran to report, "Captain Hua, it's not good." The warehouse suddenly exploded and burned down. Captain Hua was stunned, muttering, "The warehouse exploded! Could it be that the leader and General Nghiem didn't finish thinking?" Another shouted, "Captain Hua, the Thi trio are coming!" Before them, countless Dak Thi howled and surged toward the city like a fierce wave. Everyone immediately used skills and weapons to concentrate their attacks on 7 Dak Thi. Captain Hua roared, "Commoners retreat inside first." The rest, even if using their bodies, had to persist. Seeing teammates about to be torn apart by Dak Thi, he rushed forward to stop it, but another Dak Thi leapt at him. Just as he thought he might not escape, an arrow flew swiftly, hitting the beast's head. It was Chu Chin. Captain Hua was delighted. "Leader Chu, young master, you have returned." A team member reported to the captain, "The commoners have all retreated inside the city." Chu Hong Twang ordered in a firm voice, "Everyone abandon the walls and observe the situation." He sighed. "I didn't expect everything was caused by Nghiem Shuyen." Captain Hua lamented, "The warehouse exploded. Martial artists suffered serious casualties." Chu Hong Kwang looked at the Dak Thi horde, speaking gravely. "With this scale, even with many level 5 martial artists, it will be hard to resist." Chu Chin said firmly, "Therefore now we cannot continue to resist. We must lead the people to evacuate, wait for the Dak Thi to pass, then return." Chu Hong Kwang smiled slightly. "You see, this kid also has the mindset of a manager. Indeed, quite managerial thinking." Taquan Van stepped forward with water, worriedly saying, "Leader, you two should drink some water." Chu Hongquang turned to Chu Qin. Chu Qin, you are right. Chu Qin nodded. All right, now I will prepare the retreat. But before finishing, his head spun and his body collapsed. Chu Hongquang was worried. Tu Qin and Tu Quan were alarmed. Leader, are you all right like this? Chu Hongquang laughed loudly with determination. This is truly the leader. This is the only and last stubborn time. Tio Qin, I entrust you with her. The helicopter took off. Chu Qin woke up, sat up, and asked the supervisor, Why are you and Quan Jia Tu on the helicopter? The supervisor turned back with tears streaming down. The young master, their leader, was determined to stay and fight. Chu Qin stood at the airplane door, eyes brimming with tears. Under the city wall, Chu Hongquang stood proudly and spoke to Captain Hua, old Hua. If possible, you must survive, Hua replied firmly. Don't be sad anymore. Since becoming the defense team captain, my life no longer belongs to me. Chu Hongquang looked at the crowd. He declared that the martial artists would leave to protect those unable to fight and retreat into the mountains. Brothers, anyone who wants to stay with me, Chu Hongquang, in this hell. Let's fight one last battle, he thought silently, eyes sparkling. Tiuchin, though once doubted by everyone, his father always believed in him, trusting that one day he would become the brightest star in the world. He thought of his son as he rushed into the afternoon battle group with youthful vigor. Chu Qin looked down at the airplane, which was getting farther away. His heart tightened. The first supervisor witnessed Chu Qin's pained expression and, full of concern, quickly spoke. Young master, I understand your thoughts now. But in that situation, the leader wanted to protect you. Before he finished, Chu Qin interrupted with a trembling voice. Supervisor, we are deserting. Turns out the one holding his head just now was crying. Tears streamed down his cheeks. My father and the others, they don't deserve such a burden. As he spoke, childhood memories flooded in like a torrent, making him whisper. If I had discovered in Hiem Shuyanvi's plot earlier, the city wouldn't have been suddenly attacked. Suddenly a voice rang out gently. Taquan Van said softly, Young master in chaotic times, surviving a day means being single. She continued warmly, No one can predict their fate tomorrow. If nothing like this had happened, it wouldn't be your fault. Trying to live on is the greatest comfort for those who have died. The supervisor nodded regretfully. Indeed, we should live well. But just as he finished, the helicopter suddenly shook violently. A giant claw lunged fiercely. It was a monstrous bird. Taquan Van shouted, Young master, we're being ambushed by monsters. There's not just one, but 3. The supervisor jumped up. I'll go chase them away. But Chu Qin stopped him firmly. You stay and protect Manager 2. The supervisor hesitated. Young master, I haven't finished. Chu Qin jumped out. This is an order. He activated a taunt skill and struck a critical blow on one bird. The other 2 rushed forward but lost control and crashed into their companion. Chu Qin dodged just in time. This made them even more frenzied in chasing him. He muttered, persistent, aren't they? Suddenly a roar echoed through the sky, causing the 3 birds to chirp nervously and flee. Chu Qin frowned. What's that sound? Heavy noises followed, and he was stunned to see a giant dragon-like monster with huge horns before him. Its massive body was like a mountain. The helicopter before it looked like an ant. It roared once more, but then turned and left. Everyone sighed in relief. Thank goodness the monster isn't interested in us. It was also the first time Chu Qin had seen such a huge monster. He smiled softly but was surprised. Manager 2's helicopter piloting skills are excellent. Taquan Van blushed. Young master, you flatter me. Before the apocalypse reached my home, the supervisor shouted, Young master, look. Then before the 3 of them was a human city ruin. It looked vast and majestic. The plane approached. The supervisor opened the map. Young master, I bought this map from a wandering martial artist years ago. If there's no mistake, that city might be here. Chu Qin murmured as he looked at the map. Titan, the name sounds very powerful. Suddenly, Taquan Van spoke. Young master, the fight just now damaged the helicopter's tail. We need to land quickly. He nodded. All right, flying the helicopter directly over seems too flashy. Let's land. When everyone landed, he examined the map until 2 p.m. If my judgment is correct, the city is about 20 kilometers away. We can reach it before dark. The 3 carrying heavy backpacks walked through the wilderness. Each step echoed determination. Suddenly, a figure flashed by like lightning, startling all 3. Their hearts pounded. Chu Qin reacted instantly, gripping his dagger tightly, ready to strike at the figure. But when he saw clearly, he froze. It was just a test injection animal. Its eyes sparkled with no hostility. He turned to his companions with a reassuring tone and a slight smile. Don't be afraid. This wild animal won't attack people proactively. The test injection animal moved slightly, then quietly left, leaving the three staring after it a bit embarrassed by their earlier panic. Chu-Chin glanced at Taquan Van with a teasing tone. It's the first time I've seen manager to so scared. Yeah, it's also my first time leaving the city. Taquan Van lowered her head, cheeks slightly flushed, and softly said, Sorry I overreacted. He smiled softly, not teasing any further here. If such a wild monster has appeared, then the city must be nearby. Then the three continued their journey, stepping firmly on the dusty trail. After a while, they encountered a long, endless road. Supervisor excitedly shouted with bright eyes, It's the National Highway. Following this road, they would soon reach Titan City. But at that moment, the roar of an engine came from afar. A vehicle appeared, kicking up a cloud of dust. The supervisor immediately stepped forward to block the two. With a cautious gaze, Someone's coming, Chu-Chin said without delay. Duong had his bow ready with an arrow on the string. The vehicle stopped, and a man stepped out stylish in appearance. But his eyes revealed a lecherous look. He scanned all three, then stopped at Taquan Van, licking his lips with ill intent. Recognizing that gaze, Chu-Chin shot 3 arrows without hesitation as fast as lightning. All 3 arrows hit their targets, but not the man. They struck 3 venomous snakes hiding behind him. The people in the vehicle were stunned, thinking the archery skills were truly profound. Chu-Chin coldly spoke in a threatening tone. Be careful, friend. This is the wild where danger lurks everywhere. The man looked angrily at Taquan Van, about to speak, but someone in the vehicle calmly advised, Atan, don't cause trouble, we're in a hurry. The vehicle hurriedly sped away, passing them. The supervisor was furious, grinding his teeth. Those bastards dared to mess with my steward. I'll risk my life against them. Taquan Van bowed repeatedly. Sorry it's because of me that Chu-Chin almost lost his temper, he said gently but firmly. Don't blame Shindep, it's not her fault. Then he turned to the supervisor to counsel. You can't fight them now, you need to train harder. The supervisor sighed but nodded. Yes. Taquan Van sat down by the roadside and suddenly looked up with a radiant face. How is it probably just a little trouble? On the vehicle that just left. The man named Atan still looked back, muttering, Big brother, why did you stop me? That girl earlier, the big brother is stubborn, he said coldly. That kid with the bow earlier is not easy to provoke. We have urgent business, no time to waste. As long as they are still in Titan City, we will have a chance to meet again later. Scene change to the outskirts of Titan City. A level 2000 stag horse majestic with shiny fur was leisurely grazing. Chu-Chin looked at the beast with eyes full of astonishment and curiosity. A master standing nearby said in a hearty voice, Little guy want to ride? Chu-Chin was doubtful about riding. The master laughed loudly. Opportunities to ride a stag horse like this are rare elsewhere. He offered it cheaply to the young ones. The stag horse seemed to understand and proudly called out twice. Taquan Van was interested and reached out to touch its smooth fur eyes sparkling. Chu-Chin turned to the master and asked directly, How much for the 3 of us to get to Titan City? The master pondered for a moment, a cunning gleam in his eyes, then laughed loudly. All right, let me calculate. But in his heart he was scheming, thinking this was a fat prey from the outskirts and must be gouged. Before he could quote a price, the people around rushed forward, competing to offer their services. One shouted, Riding, this is expensive. My car is much cheaper, a premium Lincoln. Another barged in, I also have a stag horse, absolutely cheap. The master watched the chaotic scene, grinding his teeth in anger, muttering, Damn it, I forgot about these wolves. Looks like I won't make any profit this time. Not willing to lose, he shouted loudly, Clear the way for the 3 of you, just 1 low-grade white crystal and you can go now. Finally, the 3 decided to ride. The master's vehicle climbed onto the majestic, shiny-furred stag horse. Under the sunlight, Chu-Chin curiously asked the master, Is this 6-horse beast caught by you? The master burst out laughing heartily. Ha-ha, I don't have that skill. This treasure was bought with a mid-grade blue crystal from a monster trainer. Chu-Chin frowned in doubt. A monster trainer, the master explained enthusiastically. Actually, they are martial artists who specialize in taming mutated monsters for battle or sale, so they are called monster trainers. He glanced at the 3 and continued, Judging by your looks, you must be from elsewhere coming to Titan City, right? Or are you here to seek refuge with relatives? Hearing the question, the 3 suddenly fell silent, their eyes briefly filled with sadness. Seeing that the master quickly laughed and said, Sorry. Don't listen to my foul mouth, you shouldn't ask such questions. Taquan Van looked at Chu-Chin gently to comfort him. Young master, don't be sad. The leader definitely doesn't want that. Before I finished, Chu Chin interrupted firmly. Ida Quan Van looked at Chu Chin, gently comforting the young master. Don't be sad anymore. The leader definitely doesn't want to before finishing. Chu Chin interrupted firmly. Who said I am sad? Just now I was thinking about how to achieve something in Titan City. He looked up, admiring the towering Titan City in the distance. The tall buildings with white walls and red roofs in a unique architectural style made the three of them amazed at the grandeur and magnificence. Approaching the city gate, a large sign clearly stated the entry fee 1 spirit coin per person. The owner pointed and laughed loudly. Everyone in front of you is Titan City. I am Taquan Van. His sparkling eyes were attracted by a street vendor near the gate. Here is a detailed map of Titan City. Only 1 spirit coin. Everyone come and see. She excitedly called out, Miss, give me a map. Chu Chin looked at the fee board and exclaimed, No wonder it's a big city, even entering costs money. Changing scenes in the 5th district of Titan City. Belonging to the outskirts, all three walked through bustling streets. Chu Chin looked around with a tone of slight disappointment. Even Titan City isn't that great. Not as good as the tribe in the outskirts just now. Yes, Supervisor. He nodded. This is area number 5, probably where the poor live. Chu Chin turned to Tu Quan Van, who was intently looking at the map, and asked if there were any inns in this area. She looked up, flipped the map to find directions. All three found the Happiness Inn with a colorful heart-shaped sign on the wall. The receptionist wore a pink apron printed with a heart and a hat with animal ears. But the whole place gave off a shabby and old vibe. Seeing this scene, all three couldn't help but feel discouraged. Chu Chin sighed. After searching so long, there's not even a decent resting place? It's okay. Taquan Van checked the map again and suddenly exclaimed, Young master, this inn's name looks promising. The three continued to move to a large hotel named Peter. The supervisor looked at the building with surprise. Looking from outside, it's indeed a bit intimidating, truly a large hotel. The receptionist at Hotel Peter wore a tight cheong sam that accentuated her seductive charm, smiling brightly to welcome them. Welcome to Hotel Peter. Would you like to rent a room? But Chu Chin was straightforward. We just want to use the restroom. Do you believe that? The girl laughed charmingly at his words. Sir, you're joking about the rental procedure. Please this way to the front desk. At the front desk, politely, she said, Hello. Our standard room costs 2 low-grade white spirit stones per night. Taquan Van and the supervisor widened their eyes in surprise, exclaiming, Huh, 2 white spirit stones per night. Yes. However, Chu Chin was unfazed and replied immediately, No problem, we'll take it. In his heart, he thought even though the red soil was a bit rough, it was still much better than the shabby places outside. Sitting in the room, he suddenly thought of Chu Hong Tuong, his heart swelling with feelings. Dad, are you all still okay? Lost in thought, a knock on the door came rapidly. He opened the door and saw Taquan Van standing there. Her shy appearance made him blush. Housekeeper, too, is there something you need? She blushed, too. Stammering, Young master, I may come in? He nodded. The two sat facing each other, an awkward atmosphere enveloped them. She hesitated. Young master, actually seeing you stammering? Chu Chin smiled encouragingly. Silly, just say whatever you want directly. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. Actually, earlier I checked the money we brought. It's only enough for 1 week. He was startled. Huh. First changing scenes the next morning in the outskirts of Titan. Chu Chin and Lam Te leisurely strolled through the bustling streets. Lam Te followed curiously. Young master, the martial ranks here all seem quite high, right? He explained calmly. After all, with such a large city, ranks also represent rights. And benefits. Lam Te sighed after hearing this. If 2 people have ranks like me, even if they want to be mercenaries, no one would need them. Exactly. Because here, martial artists are so numerous that their value is cheap. Seeing Lam Te discouraged, he patted his shoulder to encourage, Don't be discouraged. Ranks come from cultivation. Although competition here is fierce, resources are also abundant. Lam Te was still hesitant, but nodded. Young master, I will try my best. As they walked, he recalled last night's matter. Although Taquan Van said money was tight, in fact, he still had more than 19,700 white spirit stones and a few blue spirit stones in his pocket. However, to survive here, he knew clearly he couldn't just sit and wait to die. Would he think of the pair of pure white round souls from yesterday? Suddenly, a beautiful girl in revealing seductive clothing approached, wrapping her arms around Lam Te's arm in a coquettish voice. Oh, 2 handsome guys, look at your dreamy faces. Want to hear any gossip? You can ask me, you know. Both were stunned by her boldness. Lam Te quickly withdrew his hand, blushing. Chu Chin looked at her with a sarcastic tone. Wow, a third-rank martial artist and yet so bad she has to sell intelligence. She still smiled and replied, Who told you martial artists in Titan City have to pay for their worth? She leaned close to his ear and whispered, wondering how Tu Quan Van would feel if he saw this scene. How would he feel? It must be a very spectacular show, she whispered. My source is very reliable. A question costs only 1 coin here, and I also have a map showing the distribution of monsters around. That Titan City has only 1 white star. Buy it guaranteed no loss. After the transaction, the gossip girl smiled brightly and waved enthusiastically as she walked away leisurely. Because Chu Chin really bought information from her, Lam Tay grumbled with a frustrated face full of dissatisfaction. This girl obviously wanted to rob money, didn't she? He turned to Chu Chin with a proud tone. Indeed, my son is not blinded by beauty, but Chu Chin just sneered with a slightly helpless tone. Who told us we were strangers in a foreign land? Better to pay a little than run around aimlessly. The two continued walking. Finally, they stopped in front of a massive building surrounded by bustling crowds. Chu Chin looked up with a steady voice. This is the first rest station in Titan City. Entering inside, a girl sat behind the registration counter with sharp eyes but still maintained a professional smile. The two lined up to register. Chu Chin responded immediately without beating around the bush. He handed over his personal information calmly. The girl pointed to a device. Please place your palm on the table for a check to verify your strength and fill in the appropriate information. Hearing that, Chu Chin was slightly surprised and murmured, There's technology like this. No wonder I'm really a country bumpkin newly arrived in the city. He placed his hand on the system, which immediately analyzed and announced the martial artist's rank. The girl registered and listened to the result. Her attitude immediately changed, her eyes showing contempt, even after confirming the rank. From now on, Chu Chin is a martial artist apprentice of the Martial Arts Guild. You can go over there to accept missions. Every 3 months, you have to come here to pay membership fees. Seeing that look, Chu Chin thought to himself with a self-mocking tone. It felt like being looked down upon, but he couldn't blame her. His strength was hidden by his challenge rank, so few could see through it. When it was Lam Tay's turn, the system identified him as a level 2 martial artist. The girl immediately smiled brightly with a completely different attitude, speaking sweetly. Congratulations on becoming a member. Here is your name tag. The treatment was worlds apart, making Lam Tay embarrassed while Chu Chin just slightly curled his lips. At the rest area, Lam Tay curiously asked, Young master is registering for this really useful. Chu Chin answered confidently, Of course it is. This is the fastest way to level up and make money. He opened the map and pointed to a spot, his eyes lighting up. This place is very suitable for me. Our ranks are different when receiving missions. Don't follow me, Lam Tay said nervously with a worried tone. How can I still have to protect the young master. Chu Chin smiled confidently, his eyes sparkling. You've been following me for so long. Do you really think I need someone to protect me? Yes, Lam Tay hesitated and murmured, but he still remembered the time when he first met. The one who protects you is me. He laughed loudly and threw a lamb crystal to Lam Tay, saying, Go train, don't disappoint my hopes for you. Looking at the lamb crystal, Lam Tay was stunned. Young master. We are currently very short on money. I can't accept it. Chu Chin raised his hand to signal softly and whispered, Don't worry, this is my private money. My steward doesn't know. Then he stood up decisively. If you still feel ashamed, then just risk leveling up. Lam Tay was touched, his eyes sparkling. The scene shifted to a crowded bus where loud voices argued, Stop pushing, I'm about to suffocate here. Another voice snapped, Big brother, you haven't bathed for days, huh? Another man muttered, Wait until you're rich. Definitely buy a specialized vehicle. Chu Chin sat silently, his eyes deep and silent. Finally, the bus speaker announced, We have arrived, everyone get off. If you want to hunt, rent a vehicle ahead. The crowd seemed freed and rushed down. Chu Chin walked past simple rural houses exclaiming, I didn't expect this place to be so far from the city, yet so lively. A middle-aged man saw him and called out loudly, Young man, what do you want? Need to rent a vehicle? I offer the lowest price here. At the rocky forest of Koanam, track dust was thick after a fierce battle with a pack of wolves. Chu Chin stood among the carcasses, his blade still stained with blood. His eyes were sharp but couldn't hide satisfaction. The system announced coldly received 1,600 experience points. He exclaimed excitedly, Oh, that's quite a lot of experience points. He thought silently, his eyes burning with ambition. Koanam Trak will be my playground in the near future. He activated the skill to scan for weak points. The arrow shot like lightning, taking down 3 wolves in the blink of an eye. Pulling the arrow from the animal's body, he muttered realistically, No money to buy arrows, they've worn out a lot these past few days. Can't use it anymore. but the corner of his mouth curled up, his eyes shining brightly. This place is a good opportunity to practice close combat. The remaining wolves growled and approached, their eyes glowing red as if wanting to devour him. One lunged forward, claws tearing through the air as fast as lightning. Chuchin thought sarcastically, the speed is pretty fast too. He dodged the next strike smoothly and laughed loudly. "Come here, train your agility with me." After a fierce battle with dust everywhere, only one wolf remained. It recklessly charged, but Chuchin, with reflexes like a wildcat, continuously dodged each attack. He smiled coldly. "All right then. Today's training is done. Should send you on your way." The blade flashed, striking repeatedly and taking down the wolf in an instant. Summarizing the spoils, he obtained 2 lamb crystals and muttered, "Not a bad harvest. But to get stronger, relying solely on the thief's skills is not enough. It's time to study new skills." In the afternoon, when returning the motorcycle, it was now scratched and covered in dust, looking pitiful as if it had just gone through a storm. The boss widened his eyes and broke into a cold sweat. "Is this you? Did you really fall into a beast pit?" Chuchin smiled wryly, casually, something like that. Entering the room, Daquan Van and Lam Tay saw his disheveled appearance and simultaneously said, "Young master, what happened to you? Were you robbed?" He laughed, heartily relaxed. "I might have overdone it during training." He turned to Nam Tay and asked, "How about you? Has the amount of refined essence increased?" Lam Tay replied, eyes brightening. "Young master, thanks to the lamb crystals you gave me, I feel like I'm about to level up to 3 in a few days." Taquan Van heard this and spoke reproachfully with some worry. "Young master, we're short on money, yet you gave lamb crystals to him." Chuchin broke into a sweat and hurriedly explained, "Don't worry to steward." He took out 2 lamb crystals and proudly showed them to her. "Look, this is the result of my hunting today." I, Taquan Van, widened my eyes in astonishment. "Young master, this is just 1 day." He nodded confidently. "Yes, to steward, you might have to work hard for me these days." Quan Van looked at the 2 sparkling lamb crystals in Chuchin's hand, eyes wide with amazement as if I couldn't believe what was in front of me. He smirked confidently, shining like sunlight on a winter day. "After all, staying in a hotel isn't a long-term solution. These 2 lamb crystals could probably buy a house here, right?" The steward shook her head slightly, a faint smile on her lips, her eyes showing a mix of pride and worry. She thought gratefully, "The young master is always like this. No matter the adversity, he always finds a way to rise and never gives up." The next morning, in the rugged forest, golden sunlight filtered through the leaves. Chuchin carefully examined the corpse of a demon beast, skillfully peeling back layers. His eyes lit up when he found a sparkling lamb crystal like a precious gem. 2 lamb crystals this week already. This place is really good for both training and making money." Holding a potion bottle, he muttered thoughtfully, "But the intensity now isn't enough for training. I have to find another place." Suddenly, he glanced at a corner and discovered some strange mushrooms. They emitted a faint glow like small lanterns in the deep forest. He whispered, eyes sparkling, "Mushrooms like these are truly rare." He recalled the conversation with the news-selling girl from before. Her voice echoed in his mind, full of cunning. "Sis will give you a free important tip if you encounter any unknown plants outside. You must definitely pick them. Such plants are mostly mutated and absorb essence. They are not easy to find." The more Chuchin looked at the mushrooms, the more certain he became excitedly. "They must be mutated plants with essence inside. Even I can clearly feel it." He carefully harvested each mushroom, meticulous like a hunter protecting a precious treasure. Riding the motorcycle back, it was now full of scratches and dust, looking pitiful as if it had just survived a storm. Chuchin stopped in front of the boss, who was staring wide-eyed. Sweat dotted his forehead. The madman, if one didn't know his rank, would doubt that he fought beasts every day. The crowd around buzzed and someone laughed loudly. With a teasing tone, "Madman, you survived today too, huh? Looking at you, you keep torturing yourself every day, huh? Always ending up like this. Aren't you afraid you'll die out there someday?" Chuchin ignored and replied briefly calmly as water. "Boss returning the bike." The boss muttered, eyes full of suspicion. "Coming back early today, huh?" He curled his lips and spoke softly, wanting to enter the city market for a bit. The shop owner, hearing this, opened his eyes wide in surprise. Even a madman knows how to stroll through the streets. Scene shifts to the bustling market of Titan City. The calls of vendors echo everywhere, mingling with the scents and vibrant colors. A frail-looking shop owner stands in front of his stall. His voice is sharp like silver bells. "Limited edition perfume, only 1 bottle in the world, 1 high-grade white crystal. Passing by, don't miss it." He approached a customer sweetly. Big brother, buy a bottle for your lover. Very cheap. The other growled angrily, "Who's the big brother here?" Look, clearly I am a woman. It's understandable, given this person's rough figure, no one would guess she's female. The shop owner stammered, voice trembling. Huh. Please spare me, or rather female hero beauty. Just then, Chu Chin stepped forward calmly like a cool stream holding a bottle of mid-grade white crystal perfume. He sniffed the elegant scent spreading out, then continued, "1 mid-grade white crystal, no extra charge." The shop owner was delighted, as if he had struck gold hurriedly. All right, all right. I'm really going to lose money just to open the sale." But his face brightened as if he had caught a fat sheep, a smile betraying his pride. Chu Chin held the perfume bottle, thinking silently. His gentle eyes, "To Quan Van would surely like this." The shop owner, wearing a messy wig, continued selling with an even sharper voice, "Beauty, I still have 1 more bottle not produced. Perfume from the 6 cities, only 1 bottle left in the whole world, 1 high-grade white crystal." Chu Chin left the market, entering a small alley, his eyes scanning to ensure no one was around. He quietly took out from space a beast demon's corpse and placed it on a board clearly labeled 1 complete mid-grade white crystal, 1 damaged low-grade white crystal. This is the skin of a level 3 mutant leopard. A buyer approached, scrutinizing suspiciously. "Shop owner, can it be cheaper?" Chu Chin shook his head firmly. "Sorry, no bargaining." The buyer observed him, eyes evaluating from head to toe, muttering, "Looking at him, he's just a martial apprentice. How did he hunt so many level 3 beasts?" But after checking the beast's quality, he nodded confidently. "The goods are genuine, absolutely no fake." It turned out this person was a level 6 martial artist. He responded enthusiastically, eyes flashing with zeal. "All right, I'll take them all. Brothers, let's be friends. My name is Tuong Chien." He handed a card to the other. The other took the card, seeing the words, "Chien Tip Equipment Shop," and asked curiously, "Brother Tuong, you don't need to count the goods before leaving." Tuong Chien laughed heartily. "I always trust my friends. With my eyes, I can tell if the goods are complete or not. Just by looking, I know." He got on his vehicle, waving friendly, "Brothers, if you want equipment later, come to my shop." The other raised his hand to wave back, "All right, Brother Thuong." The troublemakers from earlier hadn't reacted yet, their faces drained of blood. "So fast already sold out." One from the group muttered regretfully, "Leader, if we had soda to use as equipment, the success rate would be higher. Our mission will definitely be upgraded." The leader frowned irritably and left. "Actually, upgrading defensive tools doesn't mean much for us to defeat the armored tank." The other insisted angrily, "We've already spent 5 days on this mission. Is the only option to cancel the contract?" Hearing this, Chen stepped in calmly but confidently. "If the 2 of you know the armored tank's weakness, I happen to know. If you're selling, maybe we can make a deal." The leader was suspicious. "You know the armored tank's weakness," he affirmed firmly. "Yes." The other mocked him. "You're just a martial apprentice. Maybe you've never even seen the tank's shape in any country. If you want to deceive, at least find a better reason." But he spoke calmly. "Level 4 armored tank curls up defensively when attacked. Many levels of defense, clearly no way to deal with it." After proving himself, he added, "If I'm not mistaken, you probably don't have such data. I just accepted the mission because it's a level 4 mutant beast." Unexpectedly, this mutant beast was so tough. The leader seemed to trust Chu Chin, now cautiously probing, "What do we have to trust you?" He replied calmly, "I don't force you to trust me." The leader decisively made a decision, price. He said, 1 low-grade blue crystal. The other questioned when hearing the price, "Why don't you just rob it? You said the mission of your people, I have seen it already. First, the reward is 5 low-grade blue stars for buying my information, and there are still 4 blue stars that can be earned. But if the contract is canceled, there will be a 30% loss, which is more expensive than 1 star. At this moment, the team leader from the Shao sect with an authoritative voice said, "Team leader Tiu, hang your information is best accurate, otherwise you surely know the consequences." Indeed, he also reached out to shake hands with Tu Hong, the martial arts intern Chu Chin, who also responded to them, congratulating them on completing the mission before turning away. The team leader said, "I plan to start from the beginning. The fog siege always attacks there. It can simply break the defense, that's all." The subordinate said, "Team leader, why does it sound like this kid is talking nonsense?" But the team leader said, "Not at all. I can sense he has something on him. Just a martial arts intern. I'm afraid it's not as simple as it seems in those times. Not as simple as it appears on the surface." Scene changes to the hotel room. My steward brought out some photos, saying, "Here, enthusiastically, I actually found some suitable places." Lam Tay sat beside with bright eyes, saying excitedly to the steward, "So impressive, in such a short time you have found many good houses like this." Taekwon Van was praised and smiled brightly, eyes sparkling proudly. I did what I should do. Chu Chin carefully looked at the photo, nodded decisively. Decided take this house. The other two widened their eyes. Dong Tan said in surprise, "This house is in the first suburban area. The price is a bit expensive. Isn't the first district the residence of the wealthy?" Chu Chin smirked, eyes sparkling confidently. Don't listen to the old. Let's go enjoy the life of the rich a bit. Upon arrival, the three stood before the magnificent house, sunlight shining on the pure white walls and bright red roof. Much more beautiful than in the photos, everyone couldn't help but exclaim, "So beautiful." Chu Chin laughed loudly, proudly. "This is called an object exceeding its value." The broker, seeing their satisfaction, warmly stepped forward to hand over the keys with a bright smile. "The owner's house keys have been handed to your ladyship, wishing you prosperous business and looking forward to future transactions with you." Taekwon Van heard this and felt extremely pleased inside. But on the outside, I still pretended to be shy. "Young master, sorry I didn't explain clearly to the manager, causing him to misunderstand." Chu Chin looked at her, her face flushed red, just smiled lightly. "It's okay." He took out a bottle of perfume bought at the market and held it out in front of her. "Don't mention it, I almost forgot this is for you." Taekwon Van accepted the gift, her cheeks blushed even more, eyes sparkling shyly. Lam Tay trudged along, carrying a huge pile of luggage behind, mumbling, "Hey, you two seem to have forgotten something." He glanced at the two people ahead like a couple chatting and laughing, feeling very lonely inside. Scene changes to Chuduong Market. The sunlight dimmed, but the bustling atmosphere still prevailed. Chu Chin stood in front of an arrow stall, carefully examining each arrow, eyes sharp like a hunter evaluating weapons. Suddenly, the man he had met on the way to Titan City appeared. Smoking a pipe, his eyes fixed on him, the subordinate whispered, "Boss, that's the kid." The boss, still smoking, voice low, "Chu Tung, you still haven't forgotten that woman, huh?" The subordinate sneered, "No, boss, I'm already in love." "This is called determined loyalty." The boss glanced coldly. "I won't stop you, but wait until our business is done." The subordinate nodded. "Don't worry, boss." "Boss, I know how to be cautious." "All right. Consider today lucky." Chu Chin had actually noticed the two guys for a long time, thinking silently, "You have a big life." Scene changes to a dense forest. Chu Chin drove a motorcycle, dust flying everywhere. Suddenly, a group blocked the road with fierce momentum. One of them roared, "Stop, the old lava rock has been taken by the Galaxy Gang. We occupy it now. If you know what's good for you, get lost quickly." Chu Chin stopped the bike eye's suspicious voice. Calm, Galaxy Gang took it all. What if I say no? The man holding a knife stepped forward, then his head voice sarcastic. "Just a worthless martial arts intern, is this a bad joke?" Chu Chin shook his head, laughed coldly. "I'll return this sentence to you." The others laughed loudly, hearing this. "You must be rubbish." An old man who looked like a normal person intervened, voice trembling. "Boss Tong, I wouldn't dare to lie to you. If it weren't for the mutant beasts, I would have picked them long ago." "Boss Tong, you seem to be the leader," he roared. "All right, then. Brothers, kill all the mutant beasts around." "Look for it, old man," he said with a hopeful tone to Tong Duong Chu. "If you really find the mushroom waste, then my debt to Tong Duong Chu," he cut in coldly. "Get out of here a bit." "Wait a moment. If found, of course, I will give you some money." Tong Duong Chu listened to the report. His expression gradually softened, his voice calm, "Yes, yes." But in his heart, he thought silently. His eyes flashed with a gleam mixed with inferiority. No wonder he is the leader of the Galaxy Gang. I, a level 4 martial artist, standing before him, am nothing but trash. Suddenly, Tong Duong Chu's communication device rang, cutting off his thoughts. He frowned and coldly uttered one word. The voice on the other end trembled. "Tong Duong Chu, someone has infiltrated and even killed Third Elder Truong Kwang and Lu Qi." Upon hearing this, Tong Duong Chu was furious, grinding his teeth and roaring. What a level 5 martial artist was killed just like that? He cursed thunderously, "Trash is trash, why didn't you chase and kill them?" Then he gave orders with cold eyes to keep some people to search for the mushroom and the rest to patrol the area. "As long as they find anyone not from our side, kill without mercy." The subordinates immediately acted fiercely like a pack of wolves hunting prey. Scene changes to a corner of a forest with lava rocks. Chu Chin hid behind a large rock, breathing lightly, but his eyes sharp like a hawk. He quietly breathed out all thanks to the newly learned skill, otherwise killing 3 level 5 martial artists in an instant would be impossible. It's not simple at all. It's the skill-chasing wind that increases speed by 50% for 1 minute with a cooldown of 2 minutes. He checked the skill panel, eyes sparkling with satisfaction. Suddenly, a junior disciple, Chan Vu-dung, a level 4 martial artist, shouted loudly, "I see the traces already." But on this side, he spotted a figure flashing by like lightning, his voice surprised. "What is that, so fast?" But when the group arrived, Chan Vu-dung was already collapsed with blood spreading on the ground. Tong Duong-chu roared angrily like thunder, "Who is plotting against us? Finally, who is it?" The others searched everywhere, not missing a single bush, their eyes fierce as if wanting to overturn the entire forest. Chu Chin hid in the shadows. Observing the situation, he thought silently, "It seems the one standing in the middle is the leader of this group. Must find an opportunity to deal with him." It turned out the leader was Tong Dien, a level 7 martial artist. Realizing this information, Chu Chin was startled and muttered, "Unexpected to be a level 7 martial artist. Even if my speed is faster, it's useless." He sighed deeply, his eyes showing a hint of helplessness. "Well, it seems I can only give up the plan to kill them all." Using chasing wind, he dashed past the group like a ghost and disappeared into the forest. Finding a hidden corner, he sat down to rest, holding a bottle of water and gulping it down, his voice full of regret. The training plan was going well, but was ruined by them. Suddenly, a strange sound made him turn his head cautiously. He jumped down to investigate and found a white bone lying on the ground. Looking up, he was stunned by a giant spider web with teeth on the tree, glimmering with incomplete human skeletons like the terrifying trophies of a predator, Chu Chin whispered, his voice cold, consumed. Then a purple shadow dashed toward him, but he dodged. It was a giant spider monster with a huge body and eyes glowing red like lanterns. Not only on the web, but the ground was also full of skulls like a horrifying graveyard. Chu Chin drew 3 arrows and shot them simultaneously. The arrows sliced through the air toward the spider, but it was unharmed and counterattacked fiercely. He jumped and dodged behind a tree, muttering, "There's no way to break through that defense, and its speed is even faster. This time, it's a bit difficult to handle." The spider struck with one leg, stabbing straight into the tree trunk. It spat out silk as thick as a bucket, but Chu Chin still avoided it. However, a sudden strike hit him and he fell to the ground. The monster's fangs appeared before him like the gates of death in that moment of fear. He roared, gripping his melee weapon tightly. A blade flashed as he slashed fiercely at the spider. Unexpectedly, this strike broke through the defense-green liquid oozed from the wound. He rolled to avoid and cut off one of its legs. The spider became crazed, howling fiercely, ready to charge. In a life-or-death moment when Chu Chin's blade severed the spider monster's leg, a strong surge of spiritual power suddenly rose like a raging river in his veins. He clearly felt the new power erupting, his eyes shining brightly like a torch. Unexpected indeed. He thought excitedly, "At the brink of death, I have broken through to become a first-stage martial artist." Scene changes to an old rattling truck on a bumpy road. A balding man with sparse hair like 2 toothpicks laughed heartily. "Boss Hoa, this time we have a good haul." But suddenly he panicked, hurriedly turning the wheel and shouted, "Someone ahead!" It was Chu Chin, his face bright like sunshine after a storm, a wide smile of a martial artist who just broke through to level 1. The driver stuck his head out and yelled angrily, "Damn it, do you want to die?" Yes, but Chu Chin still kept a cheerful and friendly tone. "Boss, is it convenient for me to hitch a ride with you?" The guy on the other side snorted coldly, "Get lost." Chu Chin did not give up pleading with a bright smile. "All right, don't be so petty." The old boss, Hoa, sitting beside, patted the driver's shoulder in a steady tone. "Just let it go, let him get on the car." The driver reluctantly pursed his lips. "Consider yourself lucky that old boss Hoa called you up." Chu Chin bowed his head gratefully. "Thank you, old boss Hoa." At the back of the truck, a blond man sitting there handed Chu Chin a pack of cigarettes in a cold tone. "Want to smoke?" Chu Chin smiled skillfully and shook his head. "Thanks, I don't smoke. I just arrived in Titan City not long ago and don't know your group." The blond man exhaled smoke sharply. "Hutian," Chu Chin thought to himself, his eyes sparkling with a clear smile. "Everyone on this car is from the force, but the group name sounds quite feminine." He continued the conversation. "Boss, do you know how many places in Titan City train spiritual power?" The blond man blew out smoke coldly. "The martial artist training ground, but it's not cheap there." Scene changes to the outskirts of Titan, a bustling market full of colors and sounds. Chu Chin got off the car, waving his hand. "Thanks. I owe you all a favor." The driver snorted lightly and waved back, but still kept a cold look. Chu Chin muttered determinedly as he walked, "If I succeed in becoming a level 1 martial artist." After a while, he met Lam Te, who excitedly shouted, "Master, I've advanced to level 3 martial artist." Hearing this, Chu Chin's smile was as bright as sunshine. Good job, Lam Tay. Excited, Lam Tay hugged him tightly. It's all thanks to the lamb crystals you gave me that I have today. Chu Chin laughed loudly. Actually, I've broken through too. Taquan Van, who appeared from somewhere, heard this, and his eyes lit up emotionally. You're already a level 1 martial artist now. Both were moved tears sparkling like jade. Steward 2 smiled warmly. Master, finally. The three of them went together to a restaurant, raising their glasses to celebrate in a lively atmosphere. Chu Chin stood up, his voice heroic and echoing, I once said I would let you live a better life. To our beautiful future, cheers. Scene changes to the next day. Chu Chin took Lam Tay to the martial artist training ground, a vast place with an atmosphere tense like a battlefield. Lam Tay looked around worriedly. Master, training here is very expensive, right? Chu Chin responded with steel-like determination in his eyes. As long as I can level up, no cost is too high. But here, they only saw martial artists from level 4 and above, even level 6. Lam Tay's eyes widened in astonishment. The ranks of these people are too high. Chu Chin thought sharply. Sure enough, it's high level. Luckily, I sold the demon-faced spider at a high price. Otherwise, I really wouldn't have enough money to get in here. A professional-looking female instructor approached. If you two need training, please come this way. She led them and asked, May I ask what level of training you need? Chu Chin replied immediately, Give me a level 3 room first. The staff nodded. Level 3 training room requires 1 lamb crystal. Here is the token to open the room. Before entering, you need to sign a life or death agreement. After signing, Lam Tay was still excited and turned to Chu Chin. Master, I definitely won't let you down. Chu Chin was speechless with a teasing tone. All right, stop with the old-fashioned lines and hurry inside. Chu Chin turned to the female staff calmly but decisively. Please arrange a level 5 room for me. The female staff was startled, eyes wide, stammering, What? Are you sure you didn't make a mistake? A level 5 training room? He nodded with cold eyes. Yes, open it quickly. The female staff was still worried and tried to explain, I have to make it clear this is not an illusion but real combat with a fierce beast. But Chu Chin just smirked confidently. I know. Just pick it. The system announced the opponent was a level 5 mutated black chimpanzee. The female staff was still shocked, muttering, a mutated chimpanzee can be as strong as a level 6 mutated beast. Is he really not trying to die on purpose? Chapter 2. The program moved to the door of the room where another male staff was waiting, speaking professionally. Your training room has arrived. Chu Chin inserted the token and could then enter. Good luck. Chu Chin looked at the cold steel door, sensing a dangerous aura coming from inside. Thinking to himself, no wonder it's a mutated chimpanzee. At that moment, 3 thugs silently approached nearby, their eyes full of mockery. A long-nosed one sneered, Oh, look at that! It's the first time I've seen someone choose to commit suicide like this. He even made a throat-slitting gesture, sticking out his tongue with a sneer, saying, If I were you, I'd slash a line across the neck with a knife to die faster. The followers laughed along, showing tolerance. Chu Chin glanced at them with half an eye, his tone cold. What does it have to do with you? The long-nosed guy was despised, his face flushed red. His disciple, a yellow-faced guy, angrily stepped forward and shouted, You stop right there for me! Sorry, young master, we... Chu Chin raised his lips with a look full of contempt. Typical patriarchal double standards. I look down on others, that's fine. But if others look down on me, it easily provokes me. He didn't bother with this group of stepping stones. He strode straight to the door and inserted the token, then turned back to provoke, What's up? You guys want to come in and see for yourselves? The 3 guys stiffened as if sprayed with glue, not daring to reply. A level 5 mutated monkey comparable to a level 6 mutated beast who dares to enter, they remain silent. Chu Chin frowned sarcastically. Oh, it looks like you don't dare. He opened the door. White smoke billowed out thickly. His cold voice said, Wherever you came from, go back there. Then he stepped in without hesitation. After the door closed, the 3 losers still stood frozen, their faces pale from humiliation. The crowd around buzzed with lively chatter. Did I hear that right? I didn't expect someone to be so desperate as to challenge that thing. Another whispered, I saw with my own eyes that he went in there. Moreover, that guy was only a level 1 martial artist. The fat guy standing next to the long-nosed one lit a cigarette to curry favor, flattering, Latieu, don't get angry. That guy is definitely looking for death. The long-nosed guy, despite fear, admired Chu Chin's courage and took a drag of his cigarette, speaking disdainfully. Dying like that is lucky for him. If he doesn't die by my hand, consider him very fortunate. But no one believed Chu Chin could defeat the mutated beast and survive the transition inside the training room. The dim light and heavy atmosphere pressed down on the chest. Chu Chin stood before the mutated beast, a black mutated chimpanzee lying face down in a ridiculous pose, but its fiery red eyes radiated killing intent. The system announced coldly, the creature has been released. Please, prepare for combat! Chu Chin immediately took a stance, gripping his melee weapon tightly, eyes blazing with determination. This time can I break through to level 2 martial artist or not? Thanks to you. After a few seconds of silence, the black mutated chimp suddenly opened its eyes, stood up, and roared fiercely, pounding its chest, exuding a terrifying aura. The system announced coldly, this is a level 6 Black Star mutated beast. Outside the training room, the crowd continued mocking Chu Chin relentlessly. One guy spoke with disdain, my whole life I wouldn't dare face that thing. The long-nosed Latieu sneered, ha ha, I guess it's over. Hurry up and go in to handle the body. The male staff member was confused. Ah! Suddenly, a loud bang came from inside, startling everyone. Latieu, though scared, still said boldly, haha, looks like it's not necessary. This time absolutely not even bones will remain. He handed the male staff a green star pill, coaxing, later give me the video from this room. I'll enjoy it slowly. The male staff shook his head firmly. Latieu, this isn't appropriate. We can't disclose the private training sessions of our clients. Latieu still didn't give up. Someone near death, why bother keeping it so carefully? Just as the words ended, a series of loud thuds and bangs erupted from inside, startling the group again. What's going on? Could it be that Kid still isn't dead? After 30 minutes, the noise didn't stop, making the 3 losers who had provoked Chu Chin tremble fearfully. I'm not dreaming, right? Latieu's face turned pale as he suddenly struck the yellow-faced guy. The guy yelled, Latieu, why are you hitting me? Latieu sweated profusely, his voice trembling. It hurts, huh? Looks like it's not a dream. He muttered, eyes horrified. A level 1 martial artist fighting a level 5 mutated beast until now. How could that kid survive? Inside the training room, Chu Chin was panting, half kneeling on the ground, sweat streaming down his forehead. The Black Star mutated beast with blood-stained claws had only a quarter of its strength left, growling angrily as it charged to attack. Chu Chin dodged the strike and counterattacked with a sharp knife, but after a fierce battle, his energy suddenly exploded like a raging waterfall. The system announced breakthrough to level 2 martial artist. Just yesterday, he was still level 1, but today he leveled up. The new power made him feel revitalized. He stabbed a fatal blow into the back of the Black Star's neck. It roared one last time, then collapsed. The system announced, received 7,200 experience points. Outside, the fat guy pressed his ear to the door, listening. His voice trembling, Latieu said, seems like there's no more movement. This time he's definitely dead. But at that moment, the door swung open. Chu Chin stepped out, looking tired, but with sharp eyes showing no serious injury. The fat guy was startled and fell backward, shouting, what's going on? Is there a ghost? Chu Chin ignored him and turned to the male staff, speaking calmly. Can you call someone to clean this up? The crowd around was stunned, mouths agape. I remember well, wasn't that guy only a level 1 martial artist? Someone else whispered, he only trained once and already advanced to level 2, it's him. Unexpectedly, he defeated a level 5 mutant. Chu Chin walked over to the female staff at the registration desk. Calmly said, give me another level 6 room. The female staff was startled, eyes wide, yes. But he remained calm, pointing at the screen saying, there. The female staff, still shocked, holding a green star pill, muttered, level 6 inches, then suddenly gasped, level 6 mutant purple snake, he wants to challenge a level 6 purple snake. The people around were extremely shocked, thinking he was crazy. Guess if he survives. One guy shook his head, youth seeking death. But Chu Chin only glanced at them with half an eye, a disdainful smile on his lips. Meanwhile, in another room, an old man in a blue shirt with a cigar in his mouth. His sharp eyes showed he was a level 7 martial artist from Jiangtan. He laughed loudly. Ha ha, very interesting. Then looked at the male staff with curiosity. Are you sure Chu Chin is only level 2? The male staff nodded confidently. Yes, definitely. Before fighting the mutant chimpanzee, he was only a level 1 martial artist. Hearing this, Jiang Tan became more interested, eyes sparkling as if discovering a treasure, excitedly activated the training room camera to live stream Chu Chin's full training. Broadcast it to the main hall, he ordered. The male staff hesitated, but we need the person's permission. Jiang Tan exhaled cigar smoke, speaking authoritatively. Leave this to me, do as I say. He sneered, eyes flashing with calculation, regardless of whether the kid succeeds or not. This promotional video will earn a lot of money. In the main hall, the crowd buzzed with excitement like a festival. "Wow, today has come. Didn't expect a live stream, too." Another guy shook his head mockingly. "Let's be honest, a level 2 martial artist hasn't even transformed yet, fighting a mutant Fuckjia." "Are you kidding? Don't forget the toxin level of Fuckjia. Even a level 7 martial artist struggles to handle it." The main hall screen lit up, showing inside the training room. The crowd watched closely, whispering, "That's poison, why live stream this? Isn't it over already?" Inside thick, poisonous smoke, Chu Chin was sweating profusely, the health bar on the system dropping rapidly. He hurriedly opened the system to buy an antidote, muttering, "Antidote in the game. Using it in this world shouldn't be a problem." He gulped the medicine, which immediately took effect. The poison status disappeared, and health gradually recovered. Chu Chin, smirked eyes blazing. "Come here, let me open your eyes to your own power." Before him appeared a giant purple snake mutant scales, shimmering with purple light body, twisting like a phantom. Outside the main hall screen showed only thick smoke and fleeting shadows no one could see clearly. Someone muttered, "Now it's not about whether he's right or wrong." "But how long will he survive in the poisonous bones?" Suddenly someone shouted, "Look at his speed! Can a human really be that fast?" On the screen, the purple snake's scales flashed, but the screen suddenly went black. The crowd was stunned. What happened? Wasn't that a mutant purple snake? Inside the training room, Chu Chin was panting heavily, sweat dripping down his forehead. Level 6 is harder than I thought. But he laughed loudly, full of excitement. "But I succeeded, advanced to level 3. He glanced at the camera, eyes cold. It seemed he should find some people to talk about this free live stream. It turned out he had discovered Jiang Tan live streaming the match without permission, so he deliberately damaged the camera. Outside, the crowd still wondered who won. "Is it over just like that?" The training room door swung open. Chu Chin stepped out looking tired but proud. The male staff hurried. "Brother Chu, the Jiang Tan manager wants to see you." "Please come this way." He nodded. "I also want to meet him." Entering the room, Chu Chin was straightforward, coldly. "I hope you can give me an explanation." Jiang Tan's eyes sparkled with intent, smiling lightly. "Calm down, Brother Chu." He snapped his fingers, and a female staff brought in a tray holding a yellow card, several blue stars and green stars. Jiang Tan continued to express sincerity. "Today's money you earned. We will reduce the tax on this card. All your training room rental fees are discounted up to 80%. Chu Chin held the card with sharp eyes. "The other information about me is best not to be disclosed outside." Jiang Tan nodded, his tone gentle. "Of course." Seeing Chu Chin leave, Jiang Tan was confused and called after him. "Chu, can I ask you a private question? How did you manage to kill a level 6 Fuxia?" Chu Chin glanced coldly at Jiang Tan, his voice low but powerful. "Do your people all like to probe others' secrets? You see me asking wrong." Jiang Tan quickly laughed it off, his tone conciliatory. "Sorry, I was wrong. Chu, do you have any interest in joining the Beast King Alliance? With our resources, a genius like you will definitely become a level 6 martial artist within a year." But Chu Chin only smirked, his eyes firm, showing no interest. He slammed the door and stepped outside, leaving a silent atmosphere in the room. Outside, the crowd was still buzzing with astonished and curious looks, whispering, really wanting to know who that person was. There are only a few titans who are geniuses. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I definitely wouldn't believe it. Lam Tay stood among the crowd, looking around anxiously and muttering worriedly. "Where is the young master? Could he have run away and left me behind?" In the room, Jiang Tan, a man with spiky hair as if shocked by electricity, spoke suspiciously. "That guy is only a level 3 martial artist. Wasn't inviting him just now a bit too degrading for us?" Jiang Tan shook his head, exhaling cigar smoke, his tone contemplative. "Only level 3 potential can't be measured by rank. I really shouldn't have done that live stream just now." The spiky-haired man was silent, speechless before his rare regret. On the Titan street, Chu Chin walked on. His eyes scanned the battered sword in his hand, murmuring, "I really forgot about Lam Tay, the poor boy." He looked at the weapon with regretful eyes. It seemed completely useless now. Suddenly he remembered something, his eyes brightening. Right. He recalled that person said he opened a shop selling equipment, probably also selling daggers. Following the address, he arrived at Chin Tip Equipment Shop, a large signboard engraved with the word Marshal in an imposing manner. Looking at the grand scale of the shop, Chu Chin thought to himself, "I sold my wolf a bit too cheap to him." Knowing this, he decided to raise the price a bit. Scene changed to inside the shop. Chu Chin and Tuong Chien sat facing each other. Tuong Chien asked curiously in a hearty tone, "Little brother, is it my eyes, or have you already reached level 3 after just a few days?" Chu Chin smiled lightly. Nothing much, I just tried a bit harder than others. Hearing this, Thuong Qian's face lit up with a big smile. Even if you don't want to say it, you really found a good reason. Chu Qin got straight to the point. Brother Thuong, this time I came to find you to buy equipment. Thuong Qian nodded immediately. No problem, I can give you a few items as a gift. Chu Qin then asked, Brother Thuong, do you also buy this? He took out a pile of blue silk. Thuong Qian looked at it instantly with teary eyes, his voice trembling. Lam Kuang spider silk, this is a high-grade material for making equipment. He held a magnifying glass to examine it, murmuring, such rare material. It only appears on the body of level 6 demon spiders. Then he looked at Chu Qin with astonished eyes. It seems this kid has theories about martial ranks are completely useless. He proposed, unfortunately, I only have enough cash here to buy 11 Luke Tin stones. Chu Qin nodded immediately. Okay. Thuong Qian laughed brightly. Ha, today I got premium materials, I'm very happy. Let's go to the parking lot, I'll make you a weapon for free. Going down to the forging area, Chu Qin sighed, his eyes sparkling. I didn't expect your forging and crafting methods to still be very traditional. The workers here still use red-hot furnaces. They hammered the materials rhythmically. Thuong Qian explained, the mechanical part produces items for ordinary people, but weapons for martial artists need to focus on conduction properties. Chu Qin nodded, curious. Conduction properties I know a bit, it's about channeling spiritual energy into weapons to enhance combat power, right? Thuong Qian laughed and nodded. Correct. With Lam Kuang spider silk, I can make weapons with a minimum conduction property of 13%. He put on his glasses proudly. With this silk, maybe I can defeat. With Lam Kuang spider silk, I can make a weapon with the lowest transmission property reaching 13%. He put on glasses proudly. With this silk, maybe I can defeat. The legendary transmission of Nin family weapons usually involves putting materials into the furnace, the flames blazing red, then carefully placing Lam Kuang spider silk on the hot iron bar. He held a hammer, tapping continuously, each beat sounding like a heartbeat, sweat sparkling on his forehead. After a while of forging, he raised a dagger shimmering with blue light. With a heroic voice, Brother, next is to see your luck. Chu Qin held the dagger, swung it on his shoulder, tried a few slashes. The blade sliced the air sharply like lightning. Thuong Qian observed with astonished eyes and said he is an 8th-level martial artist. I also believe him. He checked carefully, mouth agape. The dagger's transmission rate was 20% a weapon worth a mid-level spirit stone. Just give it away like that. Seeing Thuong Qian's regretful expression, Chu Qin suppressed a laugh, thinking, this brother doesn't know this is the male lead. Only I tampered with this weapon to reach this level. He waved his hand gratefully. Thanks, big brother Thuong. Thuong Qian still felt regretful, but waved his hand. Go quickly, or I'll regret it, he muttered as he stepped inside. If I can do one thing, I can do a second. 3 hooligans appeared on the bustling streets of Titan. 3 thugs from the training center encountered the protagonist. One pointed and exclaimed in surprise, Isn't that Latieu, the one who likes to commit suicide at the training center? Latieu's eyes were full of hatred as he sneered, At the training center you can't hit people, but outside there aren't many rules. The fat one whispered more cautiously, But that kid killed a mutated chimpanzee alone. Before he finished, Latieu struck, growling, Understand this, you damn fool. That person's senses definitely used trickery. He suddenly realized, voice trembling. Not wrong when I met him, he was not just level 1 star. Then he became level 2. The fat one panicked. Now he's level 3. Latieu angrily shouted, Do you need me to remind you? No matter what level he is, go back. He gave me this. At that moment, Chu Qin was holding a rose bought from a flower-selling girl, her smile gentle like sunshine. Suddenly a voice rang out behind him. It finally fell into our hands. The 3 hooligans advanced. Latieu roared, Let's see if you can still be arrogant this time. Chu Qin turned around, pretending to be naive. Who are you? This only poured oil on the fire. Latieu felt insulted and shouted, Break his leg for me. But before he could rush forward, 2 underlings were already defeated by Chu Qin with a single lightning-fast strike. Seeing his men fall, Latieu fearfully retreated, sweating profusely. At that moment, a wooden stick beside the flower girl suddenly broke and fell. Chu Qin turned, saw the danger, and immediately rushed to carry the girl away. In an instant, he kicked Latieu, sending him flying straight into a collapsing pillar. Latieu screamed, Chu Qin, Chu Qin. Despite this, Chu Qin gently asked the girl, Are you okay? The girl nodded, eyes sparkling. Latieu, leaning against the pillar, screamed, How dare you touch me? Do you know who I am? Chu Qin crossed his arms, eyes disdainful. You're provoking me. Who are you? Latieu's head bled profusely, but he still tried to look cool, kneeling down. Sorry, if not for Law family, I wouldn't spare you. I'll show you what it means to live worse than death. Hearing this, Chu-Chin became angry eyes sharp as knives. He appeared behind Latieu in a flash and broke his leg. Latieu clutched his leg, rolling on the ground with tears, snot, and saliva flowing. Sorry, I was wrong. I was wrong. Chu-Chin looked at this scene. Coldly, he said, "What I hate most is being threatened." The crowd around murmured. This kid is really bold, not even afraid of the La family. Another person shook his head, most cunning. Too bad. Chu-Chin looked at Latieu, writhing on the ground, eyes cold as ice, thinking, this world is survival of the fittest. The La family won't be polite. I'll use you as a stepping stone for my advancement. Scene change. At a luxurious villa in Titan City in a brightly lit room, Latieu lay on a sickbed with his leg heavily bandaged. The doctor finished examining him. He turned to a bald old man with a serious voice. "Captain La, I have done my best. The young master's leg is fractured. Even if it heals, there will likely be after effects." The bald old man, Captain La, looked worried. "Will this affect his future promotions?" The doctor confirmed firmly, "Yes, the meridians are damaged." Hearing this, Captain La's anger flared and he roared, "Impossible!" Latieu, lying on the bed, also heard the commotion, tears streaming. "It's all because of that Chu-Chin. I have to avenge my son." Seeing his son crying, Captain La grew even angrier. He shouted, "You useless thing, how dare you cry? A level 3 martial artist defeated a level 4. Who is this Chu-Chin? What is his background?" Ba Latieu, lying on the bed, also heard the clattering tears streaming down, all because of that Chu-Chin guy making me take revenge for my son. Seeing his son crying, the team leader became even angrier. Yelled, "You useless, how dare you still have the face to cry? A level 3 martial artist tearing a level 4 martial artist. What is Chu-Chin's background after all?" He turned to a man standing nearby with a cruel voice. "Go investigate Chu-Chin. Whoever dares to touch my son must pay the price. Change scene. The next morning at the bustling Titan market, Chu-Chin walked while observing sharply like a hunter looking for prey, muttering recently spending fiercely, must find a job to earn money. Suddenly, a voice rang out, Master, we meet again." Chu-Chin turned around and saw the team leader pointing at the person he had helped complete a mission. He smiled lightly and calmly. "Is that so? That's good." The team leader enthusiastically introduced his subordinates and brothers. "This is the master I told everyone about." The others bowed and said in unison, "Hello, Master Chu-Chin." Shuang-Sung waved his hand. Can everyone change the way they address me?" The squad leader laughed loudly. "Brothers, you are too modest. More than 10 days from a martial artist apprentice to level 3. If you're not a master, then who is?" he added with a hearty voice. "Our hammer squad wants to go to the county guard post. Do you want to come along?" Chu-Chin nodded immediately. "If we can make money, of course, I'll go." He reached out to shake hands, eyes shining brightly. Scene changed to the central square of Titan, where a person held up a sign, "Hammer Squad recruiting the strongest fighters around level 5. Chu-Chin looked at the scene and muttered, "Just like fighting a boss in a game." Someone in the crowd shouted the location. "At the county guard post, the pay is 1 medium-grade blue crystal. Do you need people?" A powerful voice rang out. It was Zhang Jin, a level 6 martial artist. The crowd buzzed, level 6 martial artist here." The squad leader warmly welcomed the master's arrival. "Yes, that's right. We are short of people." Zhang Jin observed the team coldly. "I can temporarily join you, but the pay needs an additional blue crystal." The squad leader hesitated upon hearing this. "How about we distribute according to contribution? What do you think?" Zhang Jin snorted coldly, arrogantly. "Are you joking? Who knows if you'll get any profit this time? What if there are only a few white crystals? Wouldn't I be at a loss?" Chu-Chin observed Zhang Jin's arrogance and thought to himself, "While there are people, better take out my weapon first. Wait a bit so as not to reveal the game backpack." He remembered the words of Brother Chang, who made it from spider webs. "Transmission property 13%. Chu-Chin muttered, eyes sharp. "I wonder if it can be used." While he was thinking about the weapon, Zhang Jin jumped onto a truck, speaking in a superior tone. You also use a bow, but your bow can only shoot forest rabbits." He bragged, pulling out a sparkling top-quality bow from the Baichan company with 5% transmission property. "This is what you call a bow?" A team member, Chen, joined in with a friendly tone. The master on the truck raised his hand. "Come on, get inside the truck." But Chu-Chin waved his hand, smiling lightly. "No need, a little wind is good." Zhang Jin heard people call Chu-Chin master and pointed at him mockingly. "If he's called a master, then what am I?" Master. Scene changed to the outskirts of Chaoyang City, Titan. The vehicle stopped amid dusty air. The squad leader said, "You two, let's buy some food supplies here." Chu Chin recognized this place as the spot where he often stopped to borrow motorcycles. Everyone saw him and immediately greeted him warmly. "Hey, crazy guy, long time no see." Chu Chin smiled brightly. "Ha brother, Li brother Zhao." The shop owner handed over a motorcycle and a bottle of medicine with a hearty voice. "Crazy guy, this is traditional injury medicine. A few days ago I found it, but I don't need it. You take it." Chu Chin declined shyly. Uncle Vuong said that's too kind. Jung Jin, standing nearby, was so surprised he almost dropped his jaw. He thought to himself, are these people blind? He's just a level 3 martial artist. Is it necessary to flatter him so much? He stepped up, acting noble. The weather isn't bad. But inside, he was screaming, "You country bumpkins, let me show you what nobility is." But no one paid attention, all crowded around Chu Chin. Jung Jin was embarrassed and stiff-faced. Like a sprayed glue, he obediently returned to the truck. After chatting, everyone was still enthusiastic. "Crazy guy, be careful on the road, don't come back all injured." Chu Chin held the medicine bottle, smelled the strong fragrance, thinking, the effect probably isn't as good as the blood potion, but the blood potion is limited in quantity. It's better to use this at critical moments. Jung Jin looked at him and shouted, "Hey, wait, I still advise you to switch to using guns." Chu Chin shook his head. "I'm used to it." Jung Jin sneered, "Keep pretending." Scene changed. Outside the county guard post, the scenery was desolate with Broken Rock's vehicles unable to proceed. The group stopped suddenly, hearing a siren blaring behind. Another group appeared, eyes provocative. The Hammer Squad leader gritted his teeth. "That bastard and Hung, we have to be more careful." Chu Chin silently observed the other group. With eyes sharp as knives, the squad leader led the way, clearing a path through the fierce, poisonous beasts. Jung Jin wanted to show off shooting an arrow. "Here come the poisonous beasts," then posed. Hair flying in the wind like a silver star. Chu Chin, accompanied by a teasing tone with excellent archery skills, the team leader looked at the group of monsters with a tense voice, saying, "We must break through within 5 minutes. Coming to the business city, if not the monsters will increase day by day." Hello Chu Chin glanced at Truong Tan with a cool tone. "Master, it's thanks to you. 2 blue crystals are not easy to get." Truong Tan looked at him suspiciously. "What about you?" "You came to watch," Chu Chin smirked. "In the team, everyone follows the merit distribution. I don't work, so I don't get a bonus. On the contrary, if you take the bonus, you have to work." Truong Tan heard Chu Chin's sarcasm. His face flushed red and choked. "You're good." He immediately charged forward, leading the group with fierce momentum as if wanting to prove himself. The team members watched in awe. Indeed, a level 6 martial artist is too strong. Team leader, the money we spent is worth it. Ahead, a group of level 3 monsters appeared, their deformed and disgusting bodies making everyone tense. The team leader observed with a tense voice, "The monsters outside the business city are all deformed. Continuing to fight hand-to-hand is very risky." Truong Tan wanted to show off coldness. "Let me try." He shot an arrow hitting the head of a level 3 monster, but it was unharmed. Still charging forward, Chu Chin looked at this scene with a cool voice. Excellent archery. Truong Tan gritted his teeth, his face burning from being teased. Chu Chin smiled lightly with sharp eyes. "I should warm up a bit too. You all rest here first. Leave it to me to handle." The team leader hesitated with a worried tone. "Master, these monsters are not like the ones outside." Truong Tan growled urgently. "Do you think you're a master?" "If you want to die, then die, don't involve us." But Chu Chin ignored and leapt forward with a proud stance like a war god standing mid-air and preparing to shoot. 3 arrows simultaneously left the bow slicing through the wind toward 3 different monsters. Truong Tan looked at this scene, eyes wide, muttering, "Team leader, I don't know why you recruit this kind of person. No discipline, no organization, and no self-awareness." He turned to the team leader with an angry tone. "Deputy team leader, I'm talking to you." But everyone ignored him, eyes glued to Chu Chin. Truong Tan curiously followed and suddenly cursed, "Damn, Chu Chin is like a whirlwind, using archery skills to shoot down a bunch of monsters." Every arrow was precise, as if guided by a god. The team hiding on the building gasped. The system continuously announced, "Receive 700 experience, receive 700 experience, receive 700 experience." Finally, he aimed an arrow straight at the head of a monster. Truong Tan couldn't bring down the monster and immediately collapsed, black blood spreading. Chu Chin turned back with a gentle voice, finally clean. "It seems there is hope to reach level 4 today," he thought, eyes sparkling. "Then I can learn that skill." Truong Tan looked at this scene, mouth agape. 3 minutes, this kid is human. Done. Chu Chin went to his teammates with a relaxed voice. "Finished. Please help me pick up some arrows, some are still usable." He patted a team member on the shoulder. The person was embarrassed. "Huh, Okay. After reacting, the whole team cheered loudly, Master Supermaster, so cool. They surrounded one person excitedly. I say, Master, you really hide your skills well. Later, you're my idol. Everyone worked hard to clean the scene. Truong Tan was no exception. From a corpse, he picked up a blue crystal. The person next to him said, Brother Lucky, a pack already has a blue crystal. Truong Tan suddenly remembered and muttered, right. The master still said arrows need to be recovered. He glanced at Chu Chin, resisting in his heart. I'm a level 6 martial artist picking up arrows for a level 3 martial artist, but in the end he gritted his teeth and did it. Next, a team leader pointed forward with a serious tone. Brothers, the next business district is the focus. I assign Lo Kao and Tran Mai to drive pickup trucks here. Wait a moment, the vehicles will cause noise, definitely attracting a group of monsters. He glanced at Chu Chin and Truong Tan. So later I still have to trouble you two. Everyone act immediately. As the team leader predicted, the sound of vehicles echoed, attracting a group of fierce monsters. Chu Chin handed his bow to a team member who drew a brand new dagger, eyes sparkling with provocation. Truong Tan dared to show off a bit. Truong Tan refused to lose, slammed his trident on the ground, roaring, Fight, then fight, who's afraid? Chu Chin smirked and charged forward. I'll go first. Chu Chin rushed into the monsters, the dagger flashing like lightning. In just a few seconds, all 10 monsters fell at his feet. His attacks were flexible and graceful like a deadly dance. He silently thought the bright eyes of the thief system coordinating the martial artist's energy felt truly miraculous. Truong Tan hugged the trident, dazed, mumbling that he had lost. The team members looked at Chu Chin in admiration. The captain looked at the weapon of the master brother, their eyes fixed on the dagger in his hand shimmering with a blue light. Truong Tan saw the glint of greed in the eyes and thought this weapon probably has higher conductivity than any I've ever encountered. Wanting to steal it, he realized the evil thought. He hurriedly slapped his face, telling himself to stay calm and not steal from that pervert. Better to go kill a level 7 mutant beast? I don't even want to do such a despicable thing. Then he charged forward, pointing the trident at the group of poisonous beasts, fighting hard to clear them out. After finishing, Chu Chin happily said in a hearty voice, one more level. Truong Tan changed his attitude and smiled friendly. Master, my name is Truong Tan, very pleased to meet you. Chu Chin did not show arrogance, shook his hand and smiled lightly. Chu Chin said, Master, I don't dare to accept that. Truong Tan patted his shoulder sincerely. Don't be modest. You absolutely deserve it. I dare say even our captain, a level 7 martial artist, is not as strong as you. Everyone after finishing laugh and say, this time we've struck it rich, brothers. We have a bountiful harvest. Truong Tan looked at this scene, secretly regretting, damn it, why be so arrogant? He requested a fixed salary and now felt embarrassed. Suddenly, a team member hurriedly ran over, panic in his voice. Captain, a large poisonous beast is heading this way. This one is 100 times the size of a normal poisonous beast with horns on its head and a chain around its neck, the captain observed seriously. This beast has caused quite a few problems before. He decisively ordered everyone to get on the vehicle and retreat. Seeing Chu Chin still dazed, the captain shouted loudly, Hurry up, boss, but Chu Chin shook his head. With determined eyes, you go first. Its speed far exceeds the cargo vehicle. Someone must hold it back or today's harvest will be lost. The giant poisonous beast advanced. Holding a car like a toy, it threw it hard toward the group. Everyone panicked and fled, but Chu Chin stood still without hesitation, shouting decisively, Move quickly. Those of you still here will slow me down. Truong Tan, a level 6 martial artist, silently thought, looks like I underestimated this kid. He turned around with determination. He's right. I believe him. Let's go first. The captain got on the vehicle and called after Chu, Brother Chu. We'll wait for you on the highway. Chu Chin gave a thumbs up, confident. The poisonous beast saw the two vehicles leaving. Roaring angrily, it charged forward. Chu Chin leapt high to intercept the attack, shouting loudly, Your big, tall opponent is here. A powerful strike made the poisonous beast fall. Those on the vehicle watched with mouths agape, all saying in unison, Is this really a level 3 martial artist combat ability? Chu Chin activated the skill weakness sweep, his sharp eyes like a hawk, thinking, Looks like you're not invincible as you appear. The giant poisonous beast raised its weapon to strike down. But he leapt to dodge the blow, instantly using the taunt skill, and stabbed the dagger straight into the monster's head with lightning speed. 10 minutes later, the group waiting on the highway began to worry. A member asked, It's been so long, where is the master? Isn't the captain shouting, Shut up? But Truong Tan's attitude was completely different from before, gentle. I have full confidence in that kid's ability. No need to worry. A person standing on the vehicle roof holding binoculars suddenly shouted loudly, He's coming back, the master brother is returning. The whole team looked on and saw Chu Chin walking over calmly. A team member cheered. "Indeed, a master brother, I told you he will definitely be fine." Chu Chin smiled and threw a blue crystal to the team. "If we are a team lacking in courtesy, naturally we need to contribute." The team members were stunned, eyes wide. "You handled that giant poisonous beast alone." Truong Tan looked at the blue crystal, thinking he could completely monopolize this strength. The captain smiled brightly. "Brother Chu, from now on in Titan City, I only respect you." A voice called out. Senior brother Truong Tan sincerely added, "You're strong enough, I respect you too." Suddenly, two vehicles rushed over, kicking up a cloud of dust. It was the same group of fierce warriors they had met in the economic center area. A man with reversed hair under his chin sneered. "Not a bad haul." The captain replied sarcastically, "Of course stronger than that other team." The dusty people fled outside. The fierce warriors fell silent upon hearing this, but the reversed hair man's veins bulged in anger. Truong Tan was also annoyed, thinking, "Want to rest a bit, so difficult." He roared, "Looking for trouble." The aura of the level 6 martial artist exploded, making the opponent sweat. The reversed hair man trembled. "Elder, they dared to invite a level 6 martial artist. We're at a disadvantage." He shouted loudly, "Let's go!" Truong Tan laughed coldly, a big fish bullying a small fish. Chu Chin thought to himself that a sharp, high-level gaze is the real passport in this world. My cultivation must be faster. Scene change 3 days later in a dense forest. Chu Chin sat among the carcasses of strange beasts checking the system board. He had reached level 3. Unlocking the skill Teleportation Training allows instant teleportation near the target. A strange beast resembling a big cat appeared. Chu Chin stood up with determination, thinking just a little more effort. The martial artist rank is about to break through. Meanwhile, in the yard of a luxurious villa, a person pointed to the house. "Young master, this is where that brat lives." The person in the wheelchair was La Tue, his face pale. Chu Chin said, "I will show you what it means to live worse than death." In the forest, Chu Chin defeated another strange beast and received a blue spirit stone. Suddenly, there was a noise in the distance. He observed a level 7 martial artist with green energy fighting a group of ape-like strange beasts. Chu Chin raised his bow, thinking a level 7 martial artist in Titan City. Could it be someone unknown? The man was surrounded and in danger. An arrow from Chu Chin flew and struck the ape behind him. The man turned around and saw Chu Chin drawing another arrow. "Call out loudly, brothers, help out, you will definitely get your share." The system displayed information Truong Q Key level 7. He rushed toward Chu Chin, followed by a pack of fierce apes. Chu Chin calmly drew 3 arrows and shot at the apes. Each shot hit the target as if guided by a deity. Holding a dagger, his eyes cold, he said to Truong Q Key, "You hold one back, the other 2 are for me." After a fierce battle, the apes fell, black blood splattered. Truong Q Key looked at him in surprise. "What's your name?" But a level 3 martial artist could easily handle 2 black apes. Chu Chin was just extracting spirit stones from the ape carcasses while smiling. "Chu Chin, where are the benefits you mentioned?" Truong Q Key burst out laughing. "Oh, brat, you dare to make demands." "Not afraid I'll silence you." Chu Chin smirked confidently. "You can't kill me." Though arrogant, Truong Q Key sweated and thought, "Why is this brat more dangerous than a high-level martial artist?" He laughed loudly, "Ha ha!" then handed Chu Chin a small vial. "A peerless top-grade elixir, almost a rare treasure. This time you've made a big deal." Lighting a cigarette, he continued, "It took me a week to lure the Ape King and his minions away so you could eat in peace." Chu Chin held the vial, smiling brightly. "If it weren't for me, you would have died just now?" Truong Q Key nodded, his eyes sparkling. "There are no more than 10 people in Titan City who can catch my eye, and you are one of them. In a few days, I have a guild mission. Will you come?" Chu Chin nodded immediately. "No problem."